Welcome back to the Concussion Protocol Podcast. This one's going to make a lot of people mad. Oh boy, was this weekend fun. Wow. We all lost a couple on our pick'ems, but there were a few that we don't mind losing. You can have those all day long. It was supposed to be a quiet week. It was supposed to be a tune-up week for a lot of teams. Some of the big dogs showed out. It's not over for the underdogs. They need to figure some things out, but they put up a mighty good fight. But there were a couple of teams that we're going to get into. There was some swamp action. There was something happening in LA. You guys are going to hear me be excited about the city of Los Angeles and their football programs for the first time, possibly in my entire lifetime. I'm going to say nice things about an LA school.
Hey, Connor, you'll be excited along with their two fans.
Yeah.
Did you see that field storm, baby?
Man.
That's $25,000 for each of their fans that rushed the field.
Yeah, you saw a security guard trying to corral that 9-year-old girl that was rushing the field.
It was
just let them go. They've had a tough year.
Yeah.
There was one security guard trying to corral 50 fans going on the field, and they went after the 9-year-old girl. So bad.
Yeah. And he still didn't even, I'm pretty sure that guy
still couldn't catch her.
Yeah, didn't he trip and fall backwards trying to do it?
Hey, don't talk so badly about that security guard. The Penn State defense couldn't have stopped her either.
Right out the gate. I love it. I've been debating which one I wanted to lead off with. I'm going to let our resident SEC fan take the SEC games because I can't resist. I can't resist leading off or not leading off with UCLA, the Bruins, taking it to the Nittany Lions.
Dude,
I can't even say it with a straight face. The preseason number 2 in the country. Now losing back-to-back games. I will say, does this mean, after that performance, does this mean that UCLA is better than Oregon? I'm just judging. If we're judging based on performance against a common opponent, I'm just saying. I understand it was a road game, but here's the funniest thing about that.
Is it a road game if there's only 5 students in the stand?
I was literally just about to say that. I feel like crowd noise was equally an issue to help or hurt Penn State in both of these games. You can't call it, it was practically a neutral field to go into UCLA. I mean, there was nobody. The Penn State fans genuinely might have outnumbered the UCLA fans. I wish we were exaggerating. It was awful. This is the Rose Bowl, people. This is one of the most iconic venues in American sports, college football or otherwise. And they're so bad this year that they didn't even draw a crowd when a top 10 team travels in. One of the dark horse alleged Heisman contenders comes to town and nobody even wants to stop they want to go to IHOP for breakfast. They want to go to lunch instead of seeing this game. Give me a break, LA. And with all of that, with everything 2 weeks in a row stacked in Penn State's favor, you can't do it. Who is going to sit there and tell me that the Big Ten deserves to be the best conference in college football right now? I say that as someone who you guys know, I will not defend the SEC unless I am absolutely forced to. And unfortunately, I'm kind of feeling forced to back the ACC, funny enough, right now as I guess one team in the ACC particular. When it comes to the top 5, there are a few teams that I think deserve the number 1 spot. Any more than that one team from the ACC. Mm-hmm. But I really hope that Illinois wins this weekend. Let's just say that
would be amazing.
That would be
so amazing.
Because that would hopefully finally get some of the spotlight off of them, or maybe force them to, if they're going to expand to a 50-team super conference, maybe they're going to start trying to recruit some actually good teams so that they can have a strength of schedule. Because those LA teams, they're bringing down the average and they're exposing the top tier at the same time. Penn State, y'all got to figure something out. You are too proud of a program Now,
My
I
God.
don't know why you're that proud of a program, but you are too proud of a program to be looking like the fools that you are. There's a lot of game left. There's a lot of season left, a lot of games left. Right now, y'all are 0-2 in conference play, and you haven't looked good at home. You haven't looked good on the road. You haven't looked good on offense. You've looked okay on defense. But where is this top 10? You guys should be counting your lucky stars that anybody voted you in the top 25, and mostly because I'm pretty sure those people are bots at this point.
Honestly, they clearly didn't watch the games. I don't know how you vote for them at this point.
I know it was close in the end, but you know who actually was able to close it out against UCLA? Every other team they played, including, was it
New
UNLV?
Mexico, UNLV,
Literally,
Utah,
everybody else that has played them all year
Northwestern.
long at home. Yeah. New Mexico! The University of New Mexico
went into
beat
that
them
same Rose
at
Bowl.
home by 3.5
In a blowout.
times as many points. You're telling me, and they went on the road to Northwestern, where Oregon's mascot was literally reading like a fantasy novel on the sideline, sitting under the goalpost because he felt so safe in the end zone of Northwestern. he felt like he could crack
They're
open
not
a book.
scoring. I don't get it.
And so UCLA goes into that hostile environment on the road and still gets beaten. Penn State,
Dude.
what is going on with you? And at what point do you just clean house and start over? I just don't think they have the sense to do it. And it's a shame because I would like to see an actual shakeup, but it ain't happening with this staff. And I don't know. I can't even tell if it's the roster or the leadership. That was that offensive coordinator's first time calling a game, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes, it was.
it was literally his first game.
They have no coach. They had a guy doing his first time as an offensive coordinator. They had 50 fans in the stands, pretty much. The only thing that was in their favor is that they had to travel so far for it.
He was so new that he forgot how to work the headset because he'd never been on the headset before. Over and over again, and he like admitted to it. He was trying to call plays and he forgot to flip his headset down.
The headset played better defense
you guys
than Penn
lost
State too.
to that guy, to that team. I understand that's Rick Neuheisel's kid. I understand he's football royalty. He's a prince of the game. But he doesn't get to come out swinging against number 7. Come on.
So I actually think there's a way Penn State could have been undefeated by now, and I think they blew it. I'm going to read stats really quick. Drew Aller, he is QBR 75th in the country. It's been getting better, admittedly, but it's still awful. You know a guy who they threw to the wolves? A guy who I can't pronounce his name, Bo Prebola from Missouri, who's 21st right now in QBR. They could have had that guy. They had both QBs, and they threw that guy to the wolves. If they would have kept him, I think they would have been undefeated by now, which is just such a Penn State thing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Penn State also, if you look at it, besides that Oregon game, the easiest schedule in the country. I don't know how they have receiving votes. They have not beat anybody, and they
still haven't beaten a P4 team. Still no P4 teams have been beaten by Penn State.
No, and the G5 teams they're beating are cupcakes. Villanova?
Yeah.
I mean, UCLA, they didn't lose. FIU?
Chance, I have to fact check you on that. Villanova is not a G5 team.
No, I know. I'm saying besides Villanova, the G5 teams are bad. Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, Villanova isn't even a G5 team. It's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah,
guys,
get your facts straight, Chance. You're saying they're only beating these cupcake G5s. Hey, that's a proud cupcake FCS team you're talking about there.
True.
Fact check.
Guys,
5 Pinocchios.
Do you know the last time an 0-4 team beat a top 10 ranked team?
Don't.
There's a song about it.
Don't.
There's a song about it.
I actually don't know this one.
1985.
UTEP.
40 years.
Certain team.
40 years since an 0-4 team.
That was. Are you talking? Is that the BYU year?
BYU won the national championship
only
in
lost
1984.
that year was to an 0-4 UTEP.
Yeah, they won the national championship in 1984 and then lost to UTEP in 1985.
So that was before they started factoring in strength of schedule as a meaningful stat. I see.
Thanks, Chase.
I didn't mean that as a jab, Chance. I actually didn't know
Sure.
I actually didn't know who that was Since I just knew it was 40 years, I was making fun of Penn State.
Oh, you didn't know it was BYU? Oh yeah.
No, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, it was BYU right after their national championship.
You're like, that stings still, even though I wasn't alive for it.
Yeah, he wasn't born for 10 more years.
That's crazy, guys. There's no I get you're traveling across the country after an emotional game where you lost in overtime. That's no excuse to lose to this UCLA team that got blown out. What was it? Was it 25 or 35 points against UNM?
35-10 at home.
Yeah, 25 points at home. They lost to UNM, but Penn State they lost. How? Oh man, that's crazy, dude.
Yep.
I literally before that when UCLA lost to Northwestern, I was like, that was the only game I could see them winning this year. And somehow Penn State decided to prove me wrong and prove everyone wrong. They're like, hey, we don't just lose to the big guys like you say we do. We're going to lose to a nobody this week and prove you wrong.
If there is a possibility of UCLA or Penn State to lose to UCLA, then any other team on their schedule is fair game. They play every mid-tier Big Ten team for the rest of the season, and I could see literally any of them doing it. If UCLA can beat them, and UCLA handled business against, or Northwestern handled business against UCLA, Northwestern could theoretically beat them. Iowa, Ohio State, obviously, Indiana, obviously. Yeah. I'm not saying that they're totally done. I'm not saying they can't make corrections. As many Ohio State fans pointed out over the weekend, Ohio State dropped 2 games, but I really think that this is a very different scenario. There's a big difference between losing to your arch rival who was 6-6 in the game and losing to an absolute nobody dumpster fire. Is not a rival.
Who already fired their coach, has 5 people. There's no comparison to that. No. It's not even. I mean,
Chase and I made a rule that if you lose to UCLA this season, you're disqualified from the playoffs. I mean, I don't care what your record is, you're done.
Yeah, that should be a rule. Like genuinely, that's pathetic. I mean, the only way they can get in now, they have to win out. They got to beat Ohio State, which they can't do.
And so Indiana,
they're cooked. But mainly is I'm saying they have to win out, but they can't beat Ohio State, so it's not going to happen. So even if they magically beat Indiana and their other people, they're not beating Ohio State. They can never do it. So James Franklin either has to
not the team.
James
in the
Franklin
Big Ten
either has to inject ice into his veins for the rest of the season, or he's like, unless Penn State is completely complacent, being okay forever. It's not. He's proved it. He's not going to put you anywhere. It's over. Let him go. So
Penn State was not the team that any of us saw having an utter collapse this year. And there's still obviously room for them to salvage it and get to their consistent 10-2 every year that they seem to love to hit. But it is not looking good as of right now. That being said, I think we need to switch to the exact opposite side of the country, as far away as 2 games can possibly be in the continental United States, and talk about the other top 10 upset that happened in a town I like to call Gainesville, in a place we all love to refer to as the Swamp. Chase is repping their colors today.
Kinda.
This is a little bit. That's as much credit as he'll ever give the Gators.
I think the brand is throwing you off a little bit. Maybe that's it. That's as close to a cheer.
As a devout LSU fan, that's all the credit he can ever give to the Gators.
Yeah. To be fair, I've been preaching about the the Florida defense the entire season. I've said that they are real. This is a real defense, and that I said from the preseason that they could win this game. Unfortunately, I let Connor pick first and said, I got to take my chance at getting a point on Connor, and I bailed on him. And, I deserve to lose that point. I'm happy for you, Gators, mostly because I love to see Texas suffer. But mainly, what's your excuse this time, Texas? What's your excuse? I want to hear it in the comments. What's your excuse this time? Because when I started making fun of everyone for cheering them on for beating Sam Houston State and absolutely dancing on the guy in the end zone, which I know was a retribution for when he did it to him. Wow. Wow, that really justifies it. Okay, so how do you explain this game, guys? How do you explain this game? Where's your magical wand that explains? Is Florida just a top 10 team now? Is that what we're going with? I don't get it. It made no sense to lose this game, but you did. Unless your quarterback sucks. That's the only way I can tell you. That's the only thing that can explain it. Your offense isn't there. You're a quarterback who was a preseason Heisman is a joke right now and is not ready. Don't expect anything from him until next season maybe. Like he's not ready. And one other thing I got to say. I don't know if you guys caught this ad coming up during the game for Arch Manning. He has a glasses sponsorship where his dad literally says he has more of an accountant's like frame. Like I always saw him as an accountant. Maybe yank that off the air right now because he's looking more like an accountant right now.
You know how many times it showed up?
It's hitting a little bit too hard right now.
You know how many times that commercial showed up?
How many times?
6 times during that game.
He counted. You got to yank that off the air, man. That's too on the nose. That is too on the nose. So. One thing I could say is Lagway looked better in that game. He didn't look immaculate. He looked better. He rose to the occasion. He made some plays. I don't get what Napier was doing at the end, calling that one timeout. I guess there was a substitution issue, and they wanted to get the right people on the field, but they were giving me anxiety that they were going to blow that game somehow in Florida fashion. So I'm glad they figured it out. But I'm telling you, Florida's a trap game right now, dude. Anybody that's going into the swamp, that you don't want to be there. They find a way. Billy Napier on the hot seat for some reason just loves to just mess other teams' schedules up. So watch out if you're going in there.
Fun fact about the University of Texas Longhorns. Their leading rusher through 5 games played is a young man named Arch Manning. He leads the team in rushing yards through 5 games. With 160 yards.
I think sometimes we're a little too harsh on him. I think I saw a stat that he was responsible for 304 of the 320 yards that Texas had. Did they have a run game? I mean, it's tough because he's not perfect by any means. He's not the Heisman, not even close, but it does feel like he's getting shortchanged by the rest of this team as well. Because the offensive line, what are they doing? The running backs, what are they doing? I mean, and there were some times where the ball gets dropped, So it's still bad because there's no middle ground with that guy. Texas fans will hype him up to something he isn't, and then everybody else, including us, wants to tear him down. To the ground because we're so sick of you Texas fans hyping him up. But just let the kid play, and please just give him some help too. I mean, I feel bad. I don't know, but if you're Texas, man, I mean, I'd be scared. You got Oklahoma, which you might be given a gift without John Mateer. You might be able to pull away in there. But then you still got Georgia and Texas A&M on the schedule, guys.
Yeah,
does the committee?
We'll get to A&M because I am this close to actually believing in Texas A&M for once.
Well, two thoughts here. If Texas only loses one more game this season, does the committee do it? Do you guys think?
3-loss Texas team.
3-loss Texas team.
Who are you saying they lose to?
Okay, let's say they lose to Texas A&M or Georgia. Those are pretty hard losses.
That's the exact same reasoning that I had for keeping Alabama out last year.
I know, but I mean, Alabama almost made it in. You don't.
I think you need 2 things. You need chaos, obviously, around the league. You need the Big 12 to eat itself. You need the Big 10 to eat itself a little bit for that extra spot. Because 9-3, with how they've looked half the year, they'd have to turn it around too. Right. They have to make their team look entertaining. So if they're for some reason their offense catches fire all of a sudden out of just nowhere, and sure. But if it's looking like this, first of all, they're not going to lose just 3 games. They're going to lose at least 2 more, maybe 3. I mean, it's hard to bet on the Aggies to go into Austin and beat them, but right now they are the better team. I think if the game happened this week, they do it. So
well, that's my second point. That people are going to go crazy if Texas A&M beats Texas and makes the playoffs over them. They're going to go nuts over there.
Austin will catch fire. There will be a lot of shit on fire if that happens. It'll be like when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Just get those absolute chaos in the city.
Get those lampposts ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of answers that I'm saying. And Chance, to your point, we talked about Arch Manning pretty extensively, as did most people going to the preseason. I think that that was our unanimous critique, was not necessarily of him so much as of the wildly overrated, inflated expectations that were put on him. And I think we all echoed it, but I remember specifically that I was saying that like, give the kid a chance to actually prove himself. Like, maybe he will rise to the occasion, but when you put on him things like literally saying that he is the best player, is not could be, is the best player since Tim Tebow in the SEC, you're starting off that like he's at such a high level in your mind that if he does anything short of Tim Tebow, then you're going to call him a failure? Come on.
That's probably a couple people in between those two guys that were a little bit better, but this is.
Well, I'm not saying I'm just, that was the quote.
I know you didn't make that, but whoever said that, I was like, I think you're skipping a couple people. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, big shocker there. But no, I'm not saying that I'm that comparison. I do like Tim Tebow as one of the top 5 quarterbacks in college football history, but that's my personal opinion. But I'm just saying that was the quote. Regardless of where you stand on where you place Tim Tebow in all-time SEC players, to say that before he's even like really done anything, to put that kind of expectation on him, it's too much. You have to let him develop, and it's just not fair. And so, yeah, maybe he is the best player on this Texas team, but right now that's not saying much. It's just not. They've looked against actual competition. They've looked about as good as Penn State has, and unfortunately, both of these teams are out of the rankings now, and they deserve to be out of the rankings. Hopefully, for just because I don't like to watch people suffer that have worked really hard for stuff, but maybe they turn it around. I'm just not seeing it out of them. I'm not seeing where the potential is. I'm not seeing the flashes that we were supposed to be seeing out of each of these teams. Like, okay, if they can stay consistent, if they can stay trending towards that. I'm not seeing any trends out of these two teams. I'm just not.
Yeah, no, I agree. For Penn State, I don't think their schedule is good enough to get them back into the rankings. But for Texas, their schedule is good enough. But I don't think they might squeak back in if they do get this gift with John Mateer being out right now. If they do manage to pull out this rivalry, which is at home, so they could easily win this game against Oklahoma. But if they don't, I don't think either of these teams will end the season ranked. So they need to figure it out.
Texas is very likely right now to have 4 losses by the end of the year because they have to go to Georgia, and then they play A&M's. Let's not belabor the point on the dead Longhorn that's still I'm sure still rotting on the field in Florida. But yeah, these two teams, y'all got stuff to figure out. I recommend doing it very quickly. Otherwise, you really could end this season unranked after both having legitimate high aspirations for a championship, if not a top 4 finish in the playoff. That being said, I'll eat my humble pie now. I took a chance on Vandy. I had to believe in the little guy, and honestly, I do. Yes, Alabama looks much improved. Vanderbilt, I think Johnny Manziel said it best. Vanderbilt was, and specifically Diego Pavia. We knew that this game was going to come down to Diego Pavia. We knew that Vandy's defense was going to be good, but not nearly good enough to stop Alabama. That if Vandy was going to win, it was going to be on offense, and it was going to be on the arm and legs of Diego Pavia. He performed admirably, but he fell apart when he needed to. He tried everything he could, and a lot of times he tried harder than he needed to be a hero, and that's who he is. He's a cape wearer, He tries his best. Few people are as competitive as he is. He brings up averages on both sides of the ball. He makes his opponents play harder. He makes his teammates play harder, and nobody is going to outwork that guy. But he couldn't save the day on that day. He had opportunities to. He had many opportunities to, and he just fell short. So good on you, Bama. Well done. Vandy's still got a lot of football left to play, and I hope that they continue to do well. I hope that they that they are able to, get an improvement over last year. And I do hope that Diego Pavia continues to have an excellent career in college. And I do hope that he gets a shot in the NFL. I would love to see him and Cam Scatterby on the same team someday with the way those guys both play. But
wow, you're really
go ahead,
calling out
rip me apart if you want.
You're calling out Jackson Dart already. You're saying his job's up for grabs for
No,
Diego
I honestly thought he did pretty well. I'm just saying I'm not saying anything negative about Jackson. I'm just saying how entertaining would that be to have two just maniac animal weirdos?
Nobody can match Scatterby in that, dude. The dude's a psychopath. The fact that he has a story that he used to, as a kid, just slam his head into light poles for fun, to build grit. Like, how do you match that kind of just animal ferocity?
Was it West Virginia, that fullback that would smack his head with the helmet? That could be Scatterby.
Yeah, dude, that's
you
insane.
Remember that? He would smack his head with his helmet and be all bloodied up, and then he'd just throw it on and go play football.
Oh, I think I have seen it.
I feel like that's a story that you could say about anybody from the state of West Virginia, though.
I mean, maybe. But I mean, he was famous for doing it like every game. He would just smack his head, his skull open, and then just go play bloodied face. And I don't know if it was a scare tactic, if he just...
Yeah, that's got to be a scare tactic. You're like, this dude's crazy. I don't want him
crazy. I don't want to get near him,
Yeah. That would if I was on the other side of the field and someone did that to me, like, I'd be like, okay, I want to line up over here.
Instead of a mouthpiece, he has to wear a muzzle.
Like,
right? I mean,
is nobody going to rip me apart for my Vandy take from last week? I've been dreading this segment.
No, I'm not. I love that you had the heart and the gall to pick that. I would have loved to, but if anyone's watched more Alabama than me on this show, I know how it works. I know how it works, man. I said at halftime, this game's over. I said that to the group chat. I was like, I know it's tied right now, but they let Alabama score right before half and tie it up. And he's not performing what he has to do to win. You have to be basically perfect against this Bama team in any year you play them, really. Maybe last year is a bit different, but pretty much any year you go against Bama, you have to play perfect. You have to not turn the ball over, which Pavia did. He threw one pick and he fumbled the ball, which he doesn't usually fumble. So that was weird that happened. But the defender made a great play on that. And then you got to control time of possession against this team, and you just got to wear them out, because if that crowd is not the most dedicated crowd to like crowd noise, like if you go to
spoiled.
A lot of SEC teams, like if you go to Tennessee, those people are insane. They'll be screaming the whole game. But Alabama fans, they get very disappointed very quick with the smallest amount of failure. So if you can quiet that crowd and keep them out of it, like you're in it. And that's what the greatest teams have done to Bama, to go in there and win against them. And Pavia didn't have it this week. They were prepared for Vanderbilt. They weren't looking ahead like they did last year. So unfortunately, it just didn't work out for them. But also, Diego Pavia leads their team in rushing right now. Like their running back has less rushing yards, not by a lot, but they both have about 330-ish yards. So he needs some other sort of help to beat a juggernaut like Alabama. But Ty Simpson played amazing. He did throw his first pick of the season. Good job, Vandy. But their offense is looking great. Their defense looks solid. They haven't given up more than 21 points all year. So it kind of pisses me off that Chance might be right if we get to the end of the year and that doesn't change. But good shot, man. That's a tough ask even for this Vandy team that is doing really well. And now you have a bye week going into playing LSU in Nashville. So you guys have a chance in that one too. So I would just say stop the bleeding for you guys, and you guys could have a phenomenal season. So
yeah, this next 3 games for Vandy is going to be rough. They play 3 in a row, currently top 15 teams. And then they who knows what kind of Texas we're going to have in 3 weeks. Right now, that's not looking like a very threatening game, but who knows? They could turn it around. So
they competed with Texas last season. So they almost had 2 number 1 upsets in one season last season while they were struggling. Like they had lost to Georgia State, but somehow managed to beat Bama.
It does look better than it did last year.
Beating a Texas team that went to the playoffs. I could see them definitely winning that game. So
yeah,
I assume it's in Texas though, right?
I think one mistake that Vanderbilt made was they poked the bear, man. All season, Diego Pavia was kind of running his mouth against them. They beat him last year. Did you see during warmups Diego Pavia was practicing his kneel game.
Yeah, he was practicing his victory formation.
But here's the thing, Chance. That's who Diego Pavia is. I'm not gonna
Well,
you are poking the bear, but if he doesn't do stuff like that, then he's not being true to himself. And so he knows. I mean, he said this game is either going to be a blowout one way or the other, and it just went the other way. I mean.
But Connor, I mean, I credit him. He's being himself and authentic, and that's great, and that's Diego Pavia. But if you poke the bear of Alabama, they're going to give it to you, and they're going to give it to you hard. That's one team you don't want to poke the bear. I mean,
we all remember what happened to USC all those years ago.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
think you're forgetting one thing is that this entire offseason, you know who was poking the bear? Tommy Castellanos. And he did win that game. So
that is true.
Sometimes you get away with it. Sometimes you don't. It's a risky move, you know. I don't think Bama wanted to give that up twice. That would have been kind of a culture changer to let two people talk to you like that and do that. So,
here's another question for you guys: is Ty Simpson the Heisman frontrunner, or at least one of them?
He's looking real good, man. Like real good. I mean, he's in the conversation for me at this point.
Against good teams.
Yeah, I mean, one pick in the entire first half of the season. I mean, that's amazing for any quarterback at any level.
He played very well against Georgia. That's all I'll give him.
If the rest of his today, I might give it to him. To be honest.
Well, especially after we're going to talk about this team next, but especially I am falling off of the Castellanos caboose right now. Chase had a good point this weekend when we were chatting during the game that I think Florida State spent the entire season preparing for one game and forgot about the other 11.
They were ready for Bama. They were not ready for Virginia, and they definitely weren't ready for Miami. Granted, they put up a fight and got pulled it closer than it should have, but I think that was because Miami was letting off the gas a bit.
Let's go ahead and talk about one team that has beaten Alabama this year. Chance, go ahead and lead us off with Miami still looking like nobody else in the country, really.
How are they not number one? I mean, I think all three of us are in agreement. It's crazy. I mean,
nobody else has the resume. Name one other team that has the resume.
No. I mean,
I'm not saying they've looked perfect, but show me someone else who has the best package so far through 5 games.
I actually think they've looked perfect besides the Florida game. I mean, to Chase's point, I think they let off the gas against Florida State just because they could. It got closer than it should have been, or the score indicates the game was, but it was a blowout. And besides that Florida game that came a little bit close, they've been perfect. That offensive line looks awesome. Carson Beck, again, are the best player out there ever. I never spoke any ill will or bad against him ever. He looks awesome. The defense looks great. I mean, and they've not only had the hardest schedule in the country, but they've taken care of business handily. How are they not number one? Yeah. I mean, I get it. Ohio State's good. I still have questions about them. The only team I don't have questions about is this Miami team. I mean, what more can they do to prove it? I don't understand.
Until they show me weakness, I'm not going to assume any weakness. Ohio State has not looked perfect. I mean, but they've looked outstanding, but not perfect. I'm struggling to find a flaw, and I'm not even going to dog on Miami that much for the Florida game because that's a semi-rivalry, and Florida was playing for their entire season.
So that's a rivalry game, and I said Florida's defense is a scrappy bunch. So I was not shocked that they put up a fight in that game. I didn't expect Miami to take such harsh control of Florida State at home because that crowd is really loud and constantly I thought it would be a little bit closer, but dang, dude.
Well,
Miami is by.
Here's the thing about Florida or Miami going back or into the back half. They only have one game left on their schedule that's questionable right now, and that's SMU, who is still unranked and has obviously looked beatable, and they have been beaten twice by teams that look vastly inferior. I mean, Louisville can be a Kingslayer, but I don't see it right now. Stanford, obviously a joke. NC State, no. Virginia Tech, I don't even know what to make. I don't even know what they're doing right now.
I was gonna say as Miami's played their juggernauts. They played their tough schedule. So if you can't rank Miami number one now, they're not going to be number one. Ever.
Miami has the easiest path to 12-0 right now. And who are they going to play in the championship? I don't know. But they've played everyone good in their conference, or like basically. Yeah, I mean, who's like Virginia? They don't play Virginia, so honestly, Virginia in the national or in the ACC championship, or Georgia Tech, they don't play Georgia Tech or Virginia, so they have the easiest path to 12-0, and it's going to be a bunch of tiebreakers because Virginia and Georgia Tech don't play each other, so that SEC top 3 could look really, really tough to figure out. And yes, I'm aware that Duke is also in the mix, Chance. I just don't care.
Yes, for the ACC, Connor.
What did I say?
You said SEC.
Sorry. Oh, but yeah, then Duke is finally going to lose a conference game next weekend. They're on a bye this week, but then they play Georgia Tech. Oh, Duke has to play Georgia Tech and Virginia. Yeah, forget them.
Don't forget them. You wait. You wait. Georgia Tech has got to play a game this week. Duke's got a bye week, and they're going to be ready.
Yeah,
they sure do.
And they looked awesome.
This is right. Duke definitely has a chance here. They just have to not Duke it like they did against Tulane and Illinois. Literally, Memphis has been playing amazing, but it's when they make mistakes and they have slow starts that they lose these games.
It's true.
So Duke could definitely be in that game, like Chance is saying. I could see it happening now that I've watched them play.
Yeah,
but it's
give them credit.
What Duke team you're getting? Are you getting the mistake-ridden Duke team, or are you getting the Darian Mensah show? Because they've been playing out of their mind in some of these games. I got to give it to them. Chance has seen something that I didn't want to see.
It's if they if they don't turn it over a million times, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
because Mensah, if they turn it around and make the ACC championship game, he's got to be up there too for the Heisman watch because he's playing awesome. That guy.
I mean, I'll give it to him. He has had highs and lows, but the last 2 or 3 games, it has been more highs, and especially against Cal. My goodness, what more do you want from the guy? He put the team on his back and came down 21-0 to make it a blowout in the other way.
But I guess going back to Miami, if with their rating, this was the week to put them at number 1. There's no you can't put them after this because they're not going to have anything that puts them above everyone else unless Ohio State loses. Obviously, it's just going to be the Ohio State show the rest of the season unless they lose. So you have them. They're going to get their strength of schedule padded here with this overrated, overranked Illinois team. They're going to blow out probably. Like if Indiana can do it, why can't Ohio State? So there's no reason to change the rankings now. If the voters see this magical Ohio State team that is just so unbeatable.
Yeah, right now Ohio State has absolutely the easiest path to 12-0 in the Big 12.
Their best win is Texas, and they just showed us that they lose to other teams.
Yeah, we'll get to Ohio State, Illinois, in the pick'ems for this week. But it's so annoying how that they don't even have to look that good to breeze into it.
Can we talk about Florida State for a second? Because I don't know what this team is, to be honest.
I don't think they know what their team is.
Yeah,
I think they're good, but are they playoff potential still? I'm looking at their schedule and it looks doable, but I can see them slipping as well. I mean, they've got Florida. We've seen what Florida can do. I can even see them tripping against like a Clemson and a Pitt though. So I don't know. It seems like it's easy the rest of the way though.
I don't know about Pitt, but yeah, I could agree with the other ones for sure.
Well, Pitt's the same team as last year, except for they didn't start 6-0 and win 0-6. They're going to end up 6-6 by winning half their games by blowouts and then being blown out by half. I don't get them. They're weird.
If they win out, then they're going to be 10-2 with 2 conference losses and no head-to-head tiebreakers with anybody. Like, they're not going to put a 10-2 Florida State. If they didn't put a 13-0 Florida State in, I mean, they're not going to make them obviously that was a 14 playoff. They're not going to put this team in at 10-2 without a conference championship appearance and being 1-2 against ranked opponents.
Yeah, unlikely for the ACC. If this was a Big Ten team or an SEC team, they might, but I can't see it. I mean, if they have to win out, Florida has to probably look better to make that end of the season win look better, and Clemson has to look better other than that game, I guess. If those teams had looked good, then yes, but no, they don't. I don't think they have any shot at it now, unless Unless Miami collapses and the ACC goes into chaos and somehow they get a tiebreaker to get in the ACC championship and then win that, there's no way. So,
but they're not looking capable of doing that right now.
No, I mean, and even if they did get in that way, they're probably going to get swamped by whatever team they play in the playoff.
Yeah, they're looking like they're going to get a good bowl game. They hopefully will win the rest of their games and get to 9 or 10 wins, and then a 10th or an 11th win in a good bowl game that hopefully will be entertaining. But nah, I'm just not, you don't go from beating Alabama to losing 2 games against allegedly equal or better competition, and that's just inconsistency, and that's not going to win you a championship.
Luckily for Florida State, they have a history of getting left out of the playoffs, just out, even when undefeated. So I think they're used to it. So.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Poor FSU. Okay.
Hey, but yeah, 2014. Yeah, Jameis Winston.
Chase, can you please explain to us whether or not Texas A&M is legit this year? I can barely get the words out saying that, but have you seen a flaw in this team yet? Speaking of teams that look really, really good.
I have seen a flaw in their team, and it's their quarterback. But their defense, weirdly enough, for A&M has looked astounding. I know that Mississippi State isn't this juggernaut team. Auburn's not the best offense you could go against, but their defense outside of that Notre Dame game has been perfect. And yes, they were at home. I get that. I want to see how this team does on the road outside of that Notre Dame game where they won by 1. But this is the best chance I've seen for this A&M team, especially with Texas losing their reins. If they really just have to win every game except maybe 1 or 2. And they're in. They have such a good strength of schedule that even 2 losses they're probably getting in. They're doing fantastic right now, and I see them as a playoff contender by far.
Yeah, I mean they've got a tough back half of the schedule. I mean 3 road games in a row and 2 of which are against currently top 15 opponents at Texas. Regardless of how Texas is, that is always a game that seems to go Texas's way at least in recent years. And I like what I see out of Texas A&M. I just feel like I can't trust them historically. Chance, what do you think?
I'm actually seeing the opposite of you, Connor. I looked at that schedule, and I think from an SEC standpoint, that's one of the easiest schedules left in the SEC.
Absolutely.
I know you got Florida, but most of the SEC teams have been able to beat them. Sorry, Texas. You got Arkansas. I mean, you do have a challenge with LSU and Missouri, but I mean, South Carolina doesn't seem like the team they were, and then Texas doesn't. I mean, to me, it just looks like such a clean, clear pathway, which is just nuts to say with Texas A&M because nobody actually believes them except for themselves, but I'm really starting to. They look good, and it's going to be, can Marcel Reed take care of the ball? Can he do the little things to make them win? If he can do that, I mean, just rely on the defense, it should be almost a cupcake to the playoffs.
They could lose 2 games, and those 2 away games are probably their toughest games left at LSU and at Missouri. There's a bye week in between there, too, so you got time to prep for Missouri. So if you could lose both those games and then beat Texas, or win one of those games and lose to Texas, and you're still in. You might not make the SEC championship, which I think is kind of lame to get in without being into that game, but it is a 12-team playoff, so that's the reality of the 12-team playoff. So I know they want the SEC championship, so they don't want to lose those games, but they basically a lock for the playoffs at this point, unless they collapse in Aggie fashion like they have historically. So,
good.
But this is the best chance I've seen for them in a long time. So good on them. They've played well.
One of us had UTSA beating them. That's how nuts this has been.
Here's the thing, though. UTSA has performed as well as pretty much anybody else against them. I mean, given that they're looking like a mid to upper tier G5 team in week 1 on the road, they still didn't look bad, comparatively. I'm proud of my Roadrunners. They put up a fight that.
Do you know the record of the Roadrunners right now, Connor?
I don't.
They're 2-3.
To be fair, the Roadrunners put up more points than Auburn and Mississippi State combined against Texas A&M.
Which is that's saying.
So you mean UTSA is a mid-tier SEC team? That's what I'm hearing you say.
Obviously. Obviously.
That's what it obviously means.
Yep.
There's no other possible way to misconstrue that.
That is definitely how the Big Ten would see it.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. Let's close off the week's recap with the other big conference. We've talked about the Big Ten. We've talked about everybody else. Let's talk about, just do a run through of the Big 12. Obviously, Texas Tech. Yes, before I'll preempt you guys. Texas Tech looked really good again. Oh, Houston's 4-0. Yeah, it's Houston though. They have a problem. They're gonna mess it up. And I picked Texas Tech to win, and I also was in agreement with you guys that it wasn't even going to be close. Definitely more scared of BYU than I am of Houston. Much more scared of Cincinnati. Much more scared of Baylor and TCU than I am of Houston, even before this game.
You've got it backwards. Those teams are scared of Texas Tech.
Okay.
I don't know what they have
compared
to do
to
to
Houston.
prove it.
I was saying 4-0 teams that, or go ahead, make your point.
I know what you're saying, like Texas Tech, who they should be afraid of. But I'm just saying, like, all those teams should be afraid of Texas Tech. I don't understand what the country has or what Connor has against this team. All they've done is blown out teams. And can I add this in? I almost think if Utah played it close to Texas Tech and Texas Tech won, people would give Texas Tech more credit. Because then they wouldn't be saying, oh, Utah isn't that good of a team or whatever. Maybe they should have just played them close for them to say, oh, man, they just beat a good Utah team on the road. What else do they have to do? I mean, it's not their problem that they keep blowing everybody else out. I don't get it.
Fair. Maybe I phrased that poorly. What I was saying was I didn't have very high expectations for Houston in the first place. There are several teams that I thought would have been better, but either way, I didn't think that Texas or that any of those teams have a shot. With all due respect to the Cougars, I don't think that they would have a shot right now against Texas Tech. The only team that I am seeing, and week over week, and they still have a lot to prove. We'll see a little bit more out of them this weekend with a common opponent. The only team, and yes, I understand I got my devil goggles on. I've got my bias goggles on, but I like what I see out of Arizona State enough to give them the best chance of the other remaining teams on their schedule. But yeah, Texas Tech, they look good, man.
So with what Chance said, I agree. It actually probably would have helped the way they look if they had not made Utah look so bad. But the problem is, before that game, they were blowing out trash teams. Like they beat Kent State. Kent State was 0-12 last season. So what does that mean? Arkansas, Pine Bluff, okay? And then Oregon State, who is 0-5 right now. So that's why people don't want to buy into them right now. And because historically, Texas Tech started out 7-0 one season when they had Cliff Kingsbury and then lost 6 straight. Or maybe not 6, but 5 straight. They don't have a great history, so I definitely see the question marks with them. This, just like with A&M, I think this is the best chance they've had in a long time. They look good. Dog-walked Utah in their home field. They dog-walked Houston in their home field, and that's why, even though Chance wanted to argue with me with his favorite team of Utah, that's why Texas Tech scares me more than any team for in terms of ASU going through them. Texas Tech is a scary team right now.
I agree with you.
Not looking ahead past this Utah game. Utah is still a threat. But if ASU goes in and beats Utah, then ASU is easily the second best in the conference since he's up there. But Texas Tech is the only team that I right now am afraid of in that conference.
You should be the most scared of that Texas Tech team. And let me tell you, if you're an ASU fan, you should be really scared of that Texas Tech team. That front seven is mean and nasty, and your offensive line is not protecting Sam Levitt. So that's going to be a very scary game for sure. But I mean,
if ASU wins, if ASU has a comfortable road win, well, a win regardless, but a comfortable road win against Utah, they don't have to blow them out like Texas Tech did. But if they also beat them by a comfortable amount, that energy in Tempe is going to be ridiculous in 2 weeks. It's going to be that should, in my opinion, honestly, like I guess I haven't looked, but if both of those teams, or I guess Texas Tech is on a bye week this week, right?
Now they play Kansas.
Oh, duh. Okay, yeah. So those two teams both are not on a bye week. They're both playing this week. They both go in there. That should be game day, hands down, in my opinion.
If ASU wins this weekend, they should skyrocket up those rankings. Everybody should be super high on ASU, just like they were preseason, and that's gonna definitely be a game for sure.
If there was a reason this year for ASU to rush the field at home, like winning against Texas Tech, if assuming Texas Tech also, you do have to not sleep on Kansas. Kansas can be a zombie and they can bite you from the grave. But I don't see it this year. I don't. I'm not saying that I think that's going to happen. I'm just saying that you can't overlook anybody in this crazy wild conference. But ASU has a lot to prove this weekend. Texas Tech has to stay the course, and if so, I don't know what other game. I don't think the Big 12 has gotten a game day yet this year. So even if there is a bigger, a higher ranked matchup, I don't think that it should be given game day over that game. So we got a lot to prove. A lot of football to play this Saturday in the Big 12. But yeah, Texas Tech, I agree, they're looking good. I just feel like, and similar in the way with Texas A&M, I just feel like I'm always waiting on the other shoe to drop with this team. Waiting for him to just blow it somehow.
I could be wrong. I usually look up these things beforehand. I haven't, but if I were to put my money, I bet you that statistically, Texas Tech is the best team in the country. Just their defense and offense combined.
They are first in passing yards, fourth in total defense, fourth in scoring defense, and second in scoring offense. They're 30th in rushing yards, but when your passing game is that good, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, no, this team statistically is a top 5 team in the 4 major categories that they count on ESPN anyway.
So are you saying 2nd and 4, right? 2 and 4?
Second, yeah, for their offense and defense, respectively. Yeah, no, they have a light set statistically by every meaningful margin. And granted, as Chase said, they really padded their stats in the first couple games of the season.
Right.
They played nobodies.
Right.
I mean, those first 3 games were ridiculous. They have come back to earth a little bit, but not by much. Once they started playing legitimate conference games, they only dropped 10 points compared to Oregon State. So no, they are statistically, they are monsters right now. But they do, I mean, again, the whole country has a lot to prove, and I'm just saying I am going to be freaking hyped going into that one.
Right. I do have to say, I think as of right now, I would say Jacob Rodriguez wins Defensive Player of the Year.
Dude's a nightmare.
He's a nightmare. And then David Bailey, you have him on the same team, and you have all these other dudes. It's unfair. It really is.
That Rodriguez guy does not look like he should be as fast as he has no business being that fast and that strong at the same time.
2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, tackling everyone on the field. That's a nightmare.
It felt like they could have played with 10 men out there against Houston. Yeah. It was outside of that. I mean, BYU got another solid win. I mean, solid win in that it was another comfortable win.
You're missing an obvious one here, Connor.
What's that?
But I think we got to eat crow on this game.
I'll get to them all. We'll end with Cincy. Yeah. TC, very glad to see them get back on the win train. That makes ASU look a lot better. I mean, again, it was over Colorado, but Josh Hoover had 4 touchdowns.
They struggled for a while.
I think Colorado's better than we think. If you look at their scores, they played Georgia Tech to start out with. That was a close game. BYU close game. ECU close game. I mean, I know they're not winning, but I think they're better than their record shows.
I mean, we are 3 seasons into Deion Sanders, and he still has not beaten a ranked opponent. This is another season where and he's got to win 2 games in a row just to get back to 500 on the year, and those games are Iowa State and Utah.
I'm pretty sure they won the turnover margin by 3 against Georgia Tech, and they still lost.
They did, but hey, they created those turnovers. I mean, obviously the Houston loss is bad, but the other ones, I mean, they're close games at least.
Yeah.
So anyway, I like when TCU is not playing against Arizona State. I love watching them. Josh Hoover still doesn't have a whole lot of pocket poise, but if you give him a pocket, he'll pick you apart. I mean, he did look really good in that game. Kansas finally also got back in the win column, albeit against UCF, who I still have no idea what.
They struggled in that game too. UCF almost had their number.
Yeah. I mean, it was It was close, and they trailed for a while. But Baylor, what the heck was that, Baylor?
Wow.
I mean, I'm glad you got the win, but were you about to do something that Tarleton State or couldn't figure out how to lose against this team or what? No, that was Army. Army beat K-State. Yeah, that was all. I mean, it was. I would call it embarrassing for Baylor, but they did pull it out, so like they got an asterisk on it. But like, wow.
I think Kansas State has improved a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it's Baylor's defense is still very questionable. So that's the problem with their team, really. So.
Yeah. Go ahead. If I guess you guys didn't let me have it over Vandy, so go ahead and let me have it over Iowa State. Say your piece.
Well, it's not just you. It's not just you. I bailed on this team. I bailed on the pick, even though I led it by saying that this is a trap game. I said this game is a trap game for Iowa State. And then I bailed on it because I didn't have the balls that Chance had to call this game because he knew something. Every segment last week, Connor would just kind of graze that game and graze by that game, and Chance would be like, Cincy, man, they're going to take this game, and he was confident, and he was right. So I got to give you your flowers on this, Chance.
I've been saying it for weeks. It wasn't just last week. I've been saying for weeks there's something with this Iowa State game when they play somebody who is above normal. Watch out. And then, you know what Connor does? He goes on his segment and be like, all right, money line, Iowa State.
Yeah.
I just couldn't contain myself.
Chance and I are looking at each other while he's making that. And we're like,
I believe I did say last week I was going to give him one shot, and they were dead to me otherwise. So,
oh my God.
I spent the whole episode dissecting why Iowa State was going to lose that game. And then Connor, all right, money line, Iowa State.
Yeah. Chance, this is why I said this is proof that Connor doesn't listen to us whatsoever. Same with the group chat.
I care about what your picks and your analysis are.
Same with the group chat. We'll be texting for an hour, and he'll come in. Guys, I caught up, guys. What are you guys talking about? And then bring up a subject we talked about 10 minutes ago. He's like, I don't scroll up for this. I can't see.
If it's not on my screen,
I open up my phone after like going to the gym or something, and I've got 88 texts from you two. I'm like, I'm not going to read all of these, especially when half of those texts are play-by-plays.
We
like,
didn't even
nice
have
catch.
to.
You want me to respond to every, nice catch that you put in there?
We didn't say go back and read all of them, but you could at least have the decency to scroll up a couple texts because every time you say something, you're like, guys, how about this game? I was like, Chance and I literally just talked about it. I would scroll up literally 5 texts and you'll see exactly what we said about it.
Yeah. Well,
dang you, Connor.
Dang it, Connor. Oddly enough, I've got to get Iowa State credit because they were grittier than I thought they would be, and it was closer than I thought it would be. I thought Cincinnati had to buy 2 touchdowns. They came back, and they made it a game. They almost won. Granted, I think Cincinnati blew some of their opportunities and then maybe let go of the gas. I don't know what was going on with them. I think they should have had the game. Credit to Iowa State. Maybe I missed a little bit on them, but still was enough. And guys, correct me. I'm still having a hard time with this, and I know the whole Nebraska thing, but Iowa State didn't drop that much. I'm surprised, given they're a Big 12 team, and Cincinnati, they just beat them. How come? Why are they ranked ahead of them?
I don't know. This AP poll does not. It makes less and less sense every week. I've never been so excited for the CFP poll to come out.
I don't know. I felt like the AP poll did a decent job, except for that top ranking, especially that one was terrible. I mean, yeah, Cincy should probably be ranked right now, but at the same time, if Cincy's ranked, Nebraska has 1 loss to Michigan. It was a 3-point loss, and they beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati. So then at that point, Nebraska should be ranked, and I don't want to make that argument. So I'm totally cool with this. So, but to tag along with what Chance said about Iowa State, because you guys, I'm pretty sure were watching other games after that because it looked like the game was over.
It did. I turned it off. It looked like it was so over.
Iowa State scored at the end of the half. They got a 2-point conversion and got 8 points, albeit that 2-point conversion was a little bit weird. I don't know. Maybe it was the touchdown. I don't know. There was a weird call on that I probably shouldn't have happened, but either way,
it was a pass interference, wasn't it? That was bogus.
Yeah, there was a pretty soft call right there. I will say that, but that built momentum, and I said that is huge going into halftime. And then that whole second half was really Iowa State coming back. And if they didn't blow one coverage like ASU did against Mississippi State and give up an 80-yard touchdown, it would have been tied. It would have been tied. They would have gone to overtime, or someone would have won on a kick in the last drive or something like that. They put up a fight, and Rocco Beck got annihilated.
Oh my gosh.
Probably had a concussion and went back in the game, so he's got some grit. He didn't make some good. He made some bad decisions after that, but who can blame him? The dude was probably seeing stars or 3 receivers down there, and there's only one. So
I will say in that second, and I turned it off nearer to the end than I should have, but it was because honestly, and I said this in the Big 12 preview episode too, that this was either going to be shown to be that last year was Rocco Beck's team or that it was the receivers team. And I like Rocco Beck. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a great, talented player. Lots of positive that I can say about him. I think he blew that game. Maybe he was feeling it a little bit because he got rocked a couple times real bad. But I thought that ultimately he could have made plays with his arm that could have brought them back. And I think that he failed to make as many as he needed to in order to bring them back. And I think that was ultimately the reason. Yes, Cincinnati is a way better team than we thought, but I think that it came down to him at the end of not being able to live up to the moment in that day.
Yeah, I think Rocco Beck made some mistakes in that, so he definitely shouldered some of the blame for that. But their defense dug them a hole right away.
Big time.
And the offense has to score too, but the defense just let Cincinnati score and come out to a huge early lead. And if they would have stopped one of those drives, it was a game. So it's a whole team thing there.
That was going to be my point. Is I don't think it's the Rocco Beck versus receivers and all that. It's the defense. They looked terrible. And granted, I think they have some injuries in their secondary, specifically their corners. But still, I mean, Scoresby was letting it fly. They couldn't contain. I mean, they needed turnovers or some miracle to outmaneuver. Yeah. They couldn't do it. That defense is very sketchy right now. Yeah. And they desperately need to get healthy and figure it out, or else they're going to have a long season. They're not going to be ranked 2 if they don't figure it out here soon.
No, they don't have a lot of margin for error. And in this conference, honestly, you can lose to anybody at any time. Baylor just showed that.
But
except
we definitely talked. We definitely talked a lot about Iowa State and their deficiencies there. But since he played an amazing game, that second half was a little bit sketchy. You're letting them get back in it, but they played an amazing game. They're a dark horse in the Big 12 now. So they're
absolutely.
They're one of the top 3 teams right now. Honestly, everything's right ahead of them. They do have a rough schedule though. They got to beat Baylor. They got to go into Utah and beat Utah. They got to play BYU, and then they got to finish the season at TCU. So they still got to win a lot of games, and I think their home field really helps them, even though they did lose one at home. So I'm curious how they're going to do in this.
Cincinnati's home field advantage is like secretly one of the strongest home field advantages in college football. People it's a little known fact that Cincinnati is lights out at home.
That stadium was filled. They're
a very proud program in Cincinnati with a long history of winning. You go back and you look, there are down years for them, but most of the time, this is a very good program, regardless of who's coach, and has been for a long time. So the Big 12, always the most unpredictable conference in college football. The Big 10, supposed to be the most predictable conference in college football. Not this weekend. SEC still wide open, but still looking honestly like most of the country runs through the SEC. 7 of the top 12 teams in the country currently ranked are from the SEC. Lots still to be shaken out now. Really, the ACC runs through one team, and there are several people who are going to have a shot, but it's going to be a fight for that second position right now in the ACC. It's very likely at this point, in my opinion, that the ACC gets 2 teams in the playoff. Although a lot can happen because there's a good chance that multiple teams end up in the ACC championship game undefeated or with 1 loss. So anything can happen. That, however, was week 6. We are officially at the halfway point for most of these teams. This is most people's 6th game this weekend. This is separation time, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we're going to figure out who's actually got it. People are banged up. We've got injuries. We've got people who have sweat out their victories. We've got people who have blown out nobodies, and we've got people who are looking really gritty and everything in between. The first 6 weeks of the season are in the books. We're going to start off week 7. Chance, what do our futures look like? This is Chance's stock trends.
All right. Okay. Well, the stock market, we're figuring it out little by little. We got a couple teams that are shining though, so stock up. Western Kentucky, sneaky 4-1, and McIver, the quarterback, top 5 in passing yards. They could have lost and probably should have this week, but they find ways to win. So don't count out Western Kentucky. Stock down. UNC, man.
Even further? Are they a penny stock now? My goodness.
They get blown out by everybody.
Well, when UCLA, the team that was supposed to be the worst P4 team, wins and gets a top 10 win, all of a sudden you're looking at yourself at UNC and you're like, are we the worst P4 team? With Belichick as the coach, it's bad, guys. That's bad. Stock up. Duke. The ACC championship game is in sight. They have a bye this week before playing Georgia Tech, which is a huge advantage. We'll see what happens. Stock up. A team that nobody's talking about. Old Dominion. I'm going to read out some stats to you guys. Number 1 in overall efficiency in the G5. Top 12 strength of schedule in G5. Top 5 strength of record in the G5. And number 2 in the G5 in FPI behind Memphis. Nobody's talking about them, though. Maybe we should. Stock up. UNLV. They're 5-0. How are these? They've won almost every game but 2. This is the first time that they haven't squeaked by a win, but they're 5-0 somehow. Maybe it's that coach. Who knows? Knows how to win close games, right, Connor?
Yeah. I never doubted him.
And last one, stock up. Fresno State. After a terrible game against Kansas, they've rolled off 4 in a row and show like they have some pieces to maybe contend in that weak Mountain West Conference. And that's your stock ups and stocks downs this week.
Nice.
Thank you, Chance. We're keeping an eye on those. This is I love this segment that you've added in. All 3 of us obviously think very differently about this game, but I really appreciate the way that Chance looks at it. I think that you have one of the most objective minds of the 3 of us, and I like the way that you
hard with you. That is not hard with you.
Yeah, you're even more objective than I am, and that's saying something.
You know what? I got to say something to Connor, too, because you know what? We give him crap all the time. And although Connor has the most outrageous, wildest takes that I've ever heard anybody have, he sneakily has some good ones that I'm like, oh my gosh. When Connor doesn't have some goggles, and sometimes he has the goggles and he's right, but sometimes when he doesn't have the bias of Texas Tech being bad for some reason, he has some really great takes that Chase and I do not have and sees them coming. I mean, Chase and I almost picked Florida. Connor had the balls to do it, and we didn't, So kudos to you, Connor.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
Maybe it's just the insanity. Maybe it's just he has that level of insanity that pushes him over the edge.
You're giving me all this praise, and we're about to go into the pick'ems, and I'm really, really nervous about this week's
time for you to choke, Connor.
I am so scared for this week's pick'ems. Man, let me clarify for the millionth time. Texas Tech is not cursed to lose. They're cursed to be mediocre. The curse is that they are the balance keeper of the universe, much like Thanos has to keep everything in balance. Thanos did not want to exterminate the entirety of life in the universe. He wanted to bring it into balance. If Texas Tech exceeds 8 wins or gets below 5 wins, the universe just falls apart. That's who they are.
Hey,
this
Connor,
guy wrote this down a long time ago and keeps going on it.
Hey, Connor, can I ask you a question just before we go on?
Go ahead.
If they are good and they break the balance of things, wouldn't that be a good thing? Wouldn't that mean that Alabama can be bad and Ohio State can be bad?
Me,
and Arizona State can pick a championship? What are we breaking? Aren't we breaking good things?
It's more about the devil you know versus the devil you don't. I feel like I just don't want to open the box of what could happen in this sport if Texas Tech either starts being a tremendously terrible team or a tremendously good team consistently.
By the way, they just signed the number 1 defensive tackle of the 2027 class.
The Big 12 is going to have multiple legit defenses.
They signed some
Connor.
good players.
What's up?
Connor, since you brought up curses, there
my
is
God.
one team that is cursed right now. And
What's
I don't know if
that?
you guys heard about this, but for all of our Boilermaker fans out there, you guys might have a lawsuit on your hands to the richest pop star in the nation. Every single time that Taylor Swift has released an album within the football season, that week they lose. They are 0-11 in her releasing an album in the football season and them losing. And I watched that game against Illinois very closely. I was like, oh, no, they're not breaking it. They're still cursed. So dude, you guys might have a lawsuit on your hands. You got to ask her to stop releasing during the football season. Tell her to shoot for.
I'm pretty sure Taylor Swift could go to court with Big Ten university money and still take it.
Yeah, absolutely. But still,
I think she's got pockets enough for that.
maybe like ask politely. Hey, could you release it? I don't know, in March, maybe. Where it
Taylor
doesn't
Swift,
affect.
this is the University of Purdue. Could we please settle?
Please help us. We'll name a building after you. Please
Yeah.
help us.
The Swift. Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right.
0-11 is crazy. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. That's crazy.
Is time. We're not going to delay it any further. We've got some picks to make. This is week 7. The stakes are getting high. I've got a reasonably comfortable lead, but I could blow it at any moment, and this might be the week to do it. I'm really curious to see what everybody else's picks are this week, because I was sweating all of these. But Chase, please lead us off for the week 7 pick'ems. We'll get you
Week
some
7.
theme music, I promise, at some point.
Week 7 highlighted games. We're going to start off with the game on Friday, which is a huge game in terms of the American Conference, the G5, and their bid for the playoffs. This is basically a playoff game for both these teams. This is USF at North Texas. Let's let Chance go off because he felt really highly on one of these teams, and he also had a stock rising for the other team. So I'm very curious to what he thinks about these two teams.
You know, I actually really like both teams. If you don't know much about North Texas, you're alongside pretty much everybody in the country. But they have a QB who's just a true freshman, and he's killing it. I mean, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, over 1,200 yards, high QBR. I mean, he's doing really well for true freshman status. That being said, there's something about this USF team that just really they're impressive. I know they lost terribly to Miami, but so has everybody else this season. They've got a great defense. They've got a just mammoth QB where if you can't, he'll sometimes throw a great pass. If he can't, then you can't tackle him because he's out in the open field. So as much as I like North Texas and people are overlooking them, I think USF has just enough on the road that I'm picking USF.
That's where I thought you would go with this, to be honest, because you rode that train and it helped you out quite a bit this season. So
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I feel like USF is the team to beat in the American. And not just because they beat Boise State in a blowout in the opening, or not because they went into the swamp and did something that Texas couldn't do, but simply because their quarterback's a monster. Like even if he's not performing that well, tackling him is a chore. And I just don't believe in these like smaller teams' defenses actually making it work, because that dude is ridiculous. So
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, I haven't watched North Texas as much as I've watched USF, so I could be missing things here. But they had a squeaker game, winning 33-30 in overtime against Western Michigan. They then blew out Washington State, which everyone seems to be doing right now. They went to overtime with Army. There's definitely some questions in some of these scores. Now, I didn't watch the full game, so I can't speak completely to it. But I feel like South Florida has less question marks, and that's why I'm picking South Florida.
I'm also picking South Florida. There's nothing that you guys haven't said that I wouldn't say. I like that UNT, which is historically an awful, abysmal program, is finally having something to be proud of. They'll probably make a halfway decent bowl game. They might, but USF, I mean, I'm a believer in them as far as the group of 5 goes. As of where we stand, it's between them and Memphis right now. Tulane might recover something, but I don't even know. I don't know what to make of Tulane right now, even among the group of 5. Yeah, South Florida takes it. Hopefully it'll be a competitive game. I would not be surprised if this was a 21-point victory, though, for South
To
Florida.
be fair, this like I said, this is a playoff game, but for North Texas, this is probably the only game of the year that they could lose. Everything else looks like a cakewalk for them. So if they put everything they have into this game, they might be in the playoffs, dude. Like they could have it. So they still got to play the American Conference. That'd be crazy. They'd still have to play the American Conference.
Here's a scenario for you guys. If North Texas wins this game and goes 12-0 and wins the American, then you could have North Texas being in the playoff and University of Texas not in the playoff.
That's exactly where I knew he was going.
What bizarro world would we be living in where that actually is a scenario that could happen?
I thought you said you didn't want to kick them while they were down, Connor.
I don't care.
No, I don't either.
I'm tired of kicking Arch Manning while they're down. I'll kick Texas fans while they're down.
Okay. That would be crazy. I'd love to see it. That would be crazy. But USF, it would be awesome too. So. All right. The game that shouldn't be 2 ranked teams, in my opinion, but it is. Ohio State and Illinois. Ohio State has to go into Illinois to win this game. You know, if
someone else go first, Chase, please don't make me go first on this.
I will go first because I think it's very clear cut. Illinois has given me no hope for them after that throttling they took from Indiana. If they had played good in that game, then maybe I could see them winning at home. Ohio State has gone into two other games that for some reason someone wanted to hype up the other team to make them look better. I guess they were like, Washington's got the best offense in the Big Ten. Or who they play this week? I don't even know. I'm forgetting. Maryland. Who did Ohio State play?
Minnesota.
Huh? Minnesota. Yeah, they hyped up Minnesota too. Not that they were like great, but they were like, this could be a trap game. No.
Minnesota has one of the most well-dressed college football coaches, and that's the only good thing you can say about their team.
that game was just as much of a trap game as the UCLA game, apparently. So I guess in that world it is, but this is clear cut. Ohio State's favored by like 14 points or something, which I think is not even fair to them. Ohio State's going to blow them out. So
yeah, I agree.
But you're not going to be ranked much longer.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, preseason, I had this as a game to watch, and I actually had Illinois beating this Ohio State. I had it as Ohio State's only loss, actually, because I thought experience was coming back. They looked good in their bowl game. They looked good to start the season. But, I mean, Indiana game just exposed them just so bad. And after that game, I just can't trust them. Yes, they came back and beat USC, but I mean, it's USC.
By 2.
Yeah, by 2. And USC should have won that game. I mean, there was some calls that came back that were beautiful that shouldn't have. USC had to travel on the road. I mean, I don't see how Illinois is ranked. They should have 2 losses by now. They're going to after this weekend. Ohio State's just they're good. I have question marks still about Ohio State. Something isn't clicking like it did last year, but there's way more against Illinois.
I like Illinois' offense, but their defense is non-existent to me.
Nothing in the world would make me happier than to see the Buckeyes go down, but I just don't see it. I don't. I picked Illinois over USC. Ohio State, while flawed, they ain't no USC. I still don't know what to think about Indiana. We'll get to them in a second. But yeah, the Buckeyes all the way. Illinois is not dead to me. I think they're a good team. I think they're an upper level Big Ten team. But when you have so much bottom tier Big Ten, it's not hard to be an upper level Big Ten team. Ohio State is probably going to beat the spread on this one. That's a really thin spread in my opinion. And it's a shame because I don't think that Ohio State is looking like a national championship caliber team right now. And at least there's no reason on their resume to believe that. Maybe they are, but your conference is so freaking top heavy that we can't tell anything about you. And I don't think this game is going to be any different than the Minnesota game. I would love it. My bones would sing if they pulled it off, but I don't see a chance for it.
Illinois could be the 4th best team in the Big Ten, but they're not the top 3 because those ones are obvious. It's Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana. Penn State left it wide open for them to be the number 4 team, but unfortunately, they're playing the number 1 team. I'm
not sure how they do against Michigan right now.
Nope, I think Michigan would probably beat them. All right. another Big Ten matchup. One of these teams was actually featured last week, and none of us picked them. And they almost proved us all wrong until choking in the fourth quarter hard at home. Like, we weren't even watching this game, and then Chance goes, "Are you guys watching this Washington-Maryland game?" They came back and stunned them. So now they're at home again against Nebraska. I'll go first on this one as a notorious Nebraska hater. Maryland isn't ranked. So Nebraska, this is your cakewalk game here. You guys love beating unranked teams. I believe in you. Nebraska.
You know, a couple weeks ago, we had a game where we picked with Nebraska, and I, for some reason, hadn't picked that one. I had a brain freeze, and on the spur of the moment, I picked Nebraska. And afterwards, I said, what? Why would I ever pick Nebraska to win a game? I've had much more time and clarity to think about this game, and I'm going to make the same darn mistake and pick Nebraska.
Yeah, I knew where you were going there.
There's something in me that wants to believe in this Nebraska team, which is just so wrong. But I actually think that they're good. I think. We'll see.
Connor might disagree, so let's see where Connor's at with Nebraska.
I do disagree. Fool me once, Nebraska, shame on me. You fool, you can't get fooled again. Go Terps.
Maryland. Okay.
Now, you're right, Chase. You raise a good point about that Nebraska likes to beat unranked teams. But they also like to lose just in general lately. And they lost a really close game against a very underrated Cincinnati. They had an okay win over a really bad Michigan State. And I feel like they let themselves down in that last game. Going on the road. I mean, Maryland isn't known as a particularly horrible environment to play in, especially if you're used to playing it as a Big Ten opponent. It's less that I believe in Maryland and more that I don't believe in Nebraska.
Wow. So even last week you said that's basically the reasoning you used for picking Washington is I believe in Washington more than Maryland.
Yeah, so I believe in Washington more than I believe in Nebraska.
Washington almost choked that for you, and now you're still going. Okay, gotcha.
I'm picking Maryland.
Okay.
Have you in this pick'em section? Just out of curiosity, have we ever heard like an actual reason why Connor thinks that the team will win, or is it just I don't trust this team?
It's an eye test. It's an eye test, guys.
Says the guy in last place.
This team's leadership is terrible. There's no way.
It makes me so mad that Connor's ahead of me. Because I will spit facts. I will spit that this guy should beat this guy because of this and this. And Connor says, oh, yeah, because karma, because leadership, because this random thing. And he's beating me. It's ticking me off.
He's beating both of us, dude. It's better to be lucky than good, man. Connor's killing us.
Oh.
You do not understand the amount of disappointment I had that I didn't stick with my guns and go with Florida and Cincinnati because I had those thoughts. But because Connor picked Florida first, I was like, here's my chance to take a game.
I literally did the same thing. I did the same thing. Yeah. I was going to pick Florida. I should have just done it. Anyway.
Yep. All right. Well, let's keep the theme going. Big Ten teams. Connor wanted to talk about this one, so he gets to go first. Indiana on the road at Autzen Stadium in Oregon.
Here's where you guys make your money back.
No fucking way you're doing it. Oh my God.
I recognize that this sounds and feels insane even to me to say. I'm going Hoosiers.
My
Give me the Hoosiers going into Autzen Stadium and doing what Penn State couldn't do.
Wow.
You heard.
Wow.
Is there a reason?
I consulted the tea leaves.
Consulted the spirits.
I hiked into the mountains and I found a serene waterfall and I sat below it for several hours, and in my daze, I saw appearing in the midst the letter I superimposed behind the letter W, and then I left my hours of meditation, and there, off to the side, was a freshly slain duck.
If we were live just barely, we would have plummeted to 0 views. What was that?
Where'd the W come from?
A win. W for a win.
Oh, I was like, Indiana. Where's the W?
No.
Gotcha. All right.
Oh my God.
I guess
honestly, I like the tenacity that Indiana plays with. They play full bore all out the entire time. And I said it last week that Oregon is playing a risky game through the first couple weeks of their season by not playing full throttle all the time. Now, it's also a risk for Indiana to be playing full throttle all the time because then they leave themselves open for injuries, for overworking their players. This is a show where we take risks with our opinions. I am willing to take a risk on this one. I like Indiana. I'm not saying that Oregon I'm very nervous about it. But if I were to pick a game to deviate from the pack, go Hoosiers.
Hey, Connor, are you willing to die on that?
No, that's not fair for this segment. You forced me to make a pick.
Oh my God.
Question.
What?
Do you think that Indiana, that they're a top 3 Big Ten team?
Currently
the schedule gets
they're currently 3-way tied
into the thick of it.
I guess they're currently 3-way tied for being the top Big Ten team. I mean, statistically, it's not my opinion. They are right now in a 3-way tie. Their quarterback is playing. Do you think that they'll
end the season in the top 3?
They could lose this game, and then they could absolutely still end the season in the top 3 because this is probably the single hardest game on their schedule. Illinois was supposed to be also a very hard game on their schedule, and look how that turned out. So, I mean, I don't think they could easily be 11-1 outside of it. With how Penn State is looking right now, they could absolutely be 11-1. They could also very much go into Penn State and beat them there.
Especially if it's a whiteout, because apparently that just means the other team's going to win.
I guess. So I don't feel like that would be hot take worthy to say that they could easily make it to 11-1. They've already won.
So they also have to play UCLA though. So just saying.
Yeah. The Targaryens of the Big Ten.
So you're not willing to make a bet on Indiana. You've been backing them so much.
Yeah, he still believes in Illinois as a proxy of Indiana. He's the only one here that still believes in Illinois.
What? I just picked Ohio State over Illinois.
Yeah, because it's Ohio State, but you literally said they're not dead to me. Chance and I instantly said they're dead to me the second that Indiana game happened. So,
well, okay, define dead to me. I don't think Illinois is a playoff team.
I don't think they're a playoff team. I
think that they're an upper level Big Ten team in a Big Ten that has a whole lot of downside. You're trying to get a hot take out of me. I don't think it's a hot take to say that Indiana easily wins 10 games this year.
I didn't say that. I said top 3. Top 3 in the Big Ten.
As it stands right now, I mean, if they have one loss with the head-to-head over, I mean, Washington?
If you say that they have a great chance of beating Penn State and Oregon, so you think they're going to be in the Big Ten championship?
Possible. And I don't know if I'm willing to die on it right now, but I love what I see.
Only after the Oregon game would he really be able to give us an answer.
Oh my God. You're just so mad that I'm in the lead.
No, I'm trying to get a hot take out of someone.
Hot takes have nothing to do with this rank.
You are both so petty. This is ridiculous.
Somebody's got to get one, especially Chase.
You want me to die on the hill that I think Indiana is going to end up in the top 3 in the Big Ten?
Be fair, last week, I think even the week before, I tried to give you guys a hot take. I said Florida's going to upset one of these teams, and I would have won it, luckily. But you guys didn't take it. I said Florida's going to upset one of these teams.
You guys really think it would be a hot take right now to say that Indiana is going to be a top 3 Big Ten team at the end of the season?
I mean, that's a tough one. I don't know if they will or won't.
I don't think that's that far-fetched, but it has to be a 2-1. So
I don't believe in Penn State anymore. So
Chase
wouldn't
is the tiebreaker
their
on this.
schedule is a real cupcake.
I think they will be because their schedule is pretty weak. I mean, they could choke a game, but they're right now they're not showing any weakness against weaker teams. I mean, except Iowa. They did show some weakness against Iowa, but I think Iowa's they're kind of like their kryptonite with how they slow down the game and how their defense plays and whatnot. But
Iowa's defense is always really good. It's only ever Iowa's offense that has the question.
Yeah, but that's how I see Illinois is, except the opposite. I think they have the offense that Iowa wishes they had, and they're basically the center of the road for the Big Ten right now. That's how I view Illinois.
You want me to make a pick for this week? I'm picking Indiana.
Okay.
I recognize that that's a against the grain pick. It's paid off for me before. It has also gone against me this in the season before. I do not. I mean, again, it's up to Chase whether he thinks that's a hot take. I don't think it's super far fetched to say that Indiana would be easily could be finishing the top 3 in the Big Ten.
If you had said that last week, before I knew Penn State was going to absolutely implode, then I probably would have taken. But because Penn State imploded, I can't see them being top 3s.
I'm just trying to make it spicy because I honestly can't answer that either. I mean, I actually like Indiana. I'm probably more bought in than Chase. I think Indiana absolutely could win this game. They're both teams are coming off a bye, so they both have time, and that really helps when you're going on the road to Oregon. Get fresh legs so they're not as tired. There's a lot of reasons to like Indiana coming into this game. That being said, even with fresher legs coming in, the NCAA does not let you travel until like Thursday or Friday night. And it's horrible. Even like the Dublin game, they can't go into Dublin. The first game of the season, they can't go into Dublin until like the very last minute. And so everybody's jet lagged. They can't play the crap out of the game. But almost after every game, the Big Ten, they'll complain about traveling. I think Penn State, James Franklin did it. I think he does it every single week, to be honest, but he did it after the UCLA game. Well, of course he did after the UCLA game. But I mean, everybody complains about it, that it affects something into it.
If only there was something that could have been done years ago to prevent these cross-country road trips all the time.
There's an easy solution.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear from any of them.
Don't take the Pac-12 teams into your conference.
I agree with what you guys are saying. I'm just saying the reality of this specific game is Indy has to go in there. They're going to have a little bit fresher legs, but not as fresh. Oregon's environment is crazy, man. And I do like Indiana. Mendoza's great. However, to beat Indiana, you have to have a good enough offense to keep up with them and just good enough defense to keep them down and score. And I think Oregon has both of those. So give me Oregon.
Yeah. So, I mean, earlier I made the mistake of picking Penn State over Oregon, and they did have a shot. They obviously went to overtime. It was because they were at home. If they had been in Oregon, I would definitely have not picked Penn State. I would have picked Oregon. So seeing as Oregon is at home, and as I noticed the last few years, Oregon plays way better at home. Like, they blow out teams. Like, they just destroy teams at home versus like the close, like they didn't beat the spread against Northwestern because they they were on the road, they traveled, and they let off the gas, right? At home, that doesn't happen. They like to show off to the crowd and get that duck to celebrate more touchdowns. So I'm taking Oregon. I think while they do look a little bit maybe weaker than last season, I might say, I still think they're better than Indiana. I still think Indiana is a top 10 team. So I'm probably not as high on them as you guys are, but they're a top 10 team. I just don't think they're like this playoff juggernaut that's going to win games. Okay. This one should have been like way more interesting, but for some reason, Texas decided that they were going to suck, and Oklahoma's quarterback's out for at least a couple more weeks. But we got the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma at Texas, and the game is in Texas. So how are we feeling about this one?
Bliss.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go first. I mean, I don't know. Oklahoma looked good without John Mateer, but that was against a nobody, right? And so
Kent State.
Yeah, the worst team in the FBS. I have no idea what Oklahoma's gonna be. I do know their defense is gonna be pretty good, and I know Texas struggles. They've been struggling for weeks now. Last year, Oklahoma went in and they beat Alabama, and I think Oklahoma can go in and they can beat Texas as well. I'm gonna go Oklahoma.
It is a lot less far-fetched than last year. That was crazy for them to do that. To be fair, it was in Oklahoma. It was in Oklahoma. So, but this one,
I trust Oklahoma's defense just a little bit more than I trust this Texas team.
Yeah. Connor.
This would be Texas's first victory over a Power 5 opponent on the season. They have shown themselves to be able to lose against any meaningful kind of competition. Every ranked matchup they've had, they've way underperformed. I agree with Chance that this is a very different team without Oklahoma tier. I'm just as nervous about this pick as I am about the Indiana pick.
Yeah.
But for very different reasons. I think it's Oklahoma's time though. I think Oklahoma is looking like they've got a much more complete team right now. Maybe this is the time when Arch turns it on. Who knows? Arch did have that game 2 years ago where he just destroyed and picked apart for like 400 yards.
Yeah.
And that's sad because this rivalry deserves way better than what we've gotten out of both of these teams. And not that, again, Oklahoma having misfortune and then Texas just wildly underperforming. This should have been one of the biggest games, or had the makings of one of the biggest games of the year. And now I'm worried it's just going to be like, all right, who can play the least sloppy football? So we'll see.
Yeah. So this is how I could see Texas winning. Is for one, their backs against the wall. If they lose this game, they have no shot at anything they were aspiring for this season. They have no chance at the playoff. They absolutely have no chance at the SEC championship. They need this. They need this game. They need this game a lot more than Oklahoma does. If Oklahoma loses, it doesn't really matter as long as they win out. Because also they'll have the nod of, hey, my starting quarterback was out, and that matters to the committee.
Have you seen how Oklahoma ends the season though?
Yeah, they have probably the second or third worst schedule as far as strength goes. It's an absolute gauntlet, as Connor would say. So it's tough, but Oklahoma could lose this one with a lot less on it than Texas. Texas, if they lose it, their season's basically over. You're shooting for a mediocre bowl game, and that's obviously you were the preseason number 1 ranked team, so that's super disappointing. So that's the only way I could see Texas winning is Arch has to step up against a defense that I think is better than Florida's defense. So that's where I can't. He struggled anytime he has pressure, and Oklahoma brings pressure. They had 11 sacks against Auburn. Like they were getting to the quarterback almost every play. If they weren't tackling him, they were pressuring him and making it super uncomfortable for Jackson Arnold. Granted, I still think Auburn probably should have won that game. But the one thing Oklahoma probably needs to do in this game because of their question marks on offense and with their quarterback being out is they need to somehow force a turnover. I didn't watch their Kent State game, but I think to this point they still have not forced a turnover. Any picks or any fumbles, I did not look at the stats of that Kent State game, but before that, they had no turnovers. It was just playing hard defense and sacking the quarterback. So I think they need to force Arch into a mistake, and he's been prone to them. So I could definitely see that happening. So Texas is in a corner, and when a rat gets cornered, they bite. But I'm still taking Boomer Sooner.
3 for 3. Yeah.
Yep.
The little things, the little many.
To answer your question, Chase, 2 turnovers last week.
Oh, okay. Good for them. Against Kent State, but still, right. You got some finally. But that defense isn't a joke, man. They're crazy scary, especially that pass rush. Wow. So, and Texas has no run game, as you guys stated. So if they don't have to worry about the run, they're constantly being passed downs. They'll be pressuring the quarterback. It's really, I think Oklahoma's defense is better than Texas's. And maybe Texas's offense is slightly better because their quarterback's out, but that remains to be seen. So, Boomer Sooner. All right, this game, Florida, man, they have such a tough schedule, man. They beat this Texas team at home, and now they got to go into Kyle Field and beat Texas A&M. And what is with Texas A&M's schedule, man? They're all their games are at home except Notre Dame. They're all at home so far. It's crazy, but it's hard to pick against this Texas A&M team. Obviously, they're usually due for a choke job, but I think DJ Lagway outperformed how he's been playing all season last game, and I don't see him replicating that against this A&M team. So I'm taking A&M. Go Aggies.
I have a hard time seeing Marcel Reed taking this game over. For some reason, that's my only doubt. Is everything's clicking except for him, and against Florida's defense, you have to click because Florida can't score any points, but if you can't either, it's going to be a gritty game. I mean, even Carson Beck, who has looked awesome this season, had a hard time against Florida. So Marcel Reed, and he makes mistakes, and if they make too many mistakes, Florida could win this game. That being said, I think Florida gave that their all last week. They knew they had to win a big game. They got it out of the way. Can they win another one? I don't know. They've got to be banged up. They've got their spirits have got it. I mean, the highs and lows. I don't see them winning this game. So I'm going A&M to be clear.
I don't think Lightning is going to strike twice for Florida. I agree with you guys that their defense is legit. I also have only seen a legit defense out of A&M aside from Notre Dame, but that was their one road game, and I feel like they've tightened up quite a bit since then. And even then, Notre Dame was a much better offense, and so it was much more likely that going into Notre Dame that A&M was going to be put to the test, especially after having 2 cupcakes to start off with. Then yeah, but they obviously tightened up big time against Auburn and even more so against Mississippi State. And I don't see a way that Florida will be able to go on the road and win this one. It breaks my heart because I was really hoping that Florida would have a resurgence as a program this year. I think their statement win of the year is Texas. They've got such a hard schedule, and this is going to be tough. Lagway would be the difference maker if they're going to win this game. It's going to be because Lagway it just turns into absolute beast mode. I mean, he would have to do double of anything that he's done all year long. But I think that Texas A&M is ready for it.
Even interception.
Yeah, he's going to have to throw 10 interceptions this game if he wants to win. Yeah. No, it's Florida's firepower just can't keep up, and even if Florida can limit A&M's firepower, then I can't make an argument for it, which is again the weird thing to say that like I believe in Texas A&M. Like, am I saying that out loud? So at least this week I believe in A&M.
Some logic coming out of Connor.
Yeah, if this game was in the swamp, I might actually pick Florida. But because it's Kyle Field, it's that's rough. The only way I could see Florida winning is obviously DJ Lagway has to play well, but their defense probably has to force like turnovers that turn into touchdowns. So they can't pick the ball off at the 50 and just go down with their offense. They have to pick it off and run it in for it to be a game. And that's what Texas A&M's defense has done. But that game against Auburn was basically won because of a defensive touchdown. So that's what scares me about that A&M team is their defense. So, sorry, Gators. Another SEC matchup. Georgia going into Alabama, but to play Auburn. So how does that work out for them this time?
I never believe in Auburn, and I don't think this year deserves to be any different. Auburn has once again shown that they have a really high ceiling, and they're never going to reach it. Georgia does not look perfect by any means, but they're good enough to go into Auburn and beat them. Go Dogs.
Yeah. There's something about this Georgia team that makes me a little bit more weary about them. It doesn't seem like they're the slam dunk Georgia teams of the past. I feel like they could win any given week, but they can definitely lose any given week. And credit to this Auburn team. I like them. I mean, they're 14 points away from being undefeated. And they should at least have won one more of those games. And we're talking about 2 top 6 teams that they lost to. So there's a lot to like about them, but they're one-dimensional. They can't throw the ball. Has Jackson Arnold thrown for more than 150 yards this season? Legitimate question. I have to look it up right now because I'm not sure.
His longest throw of the season was a 32-yard gain.
Was what?
32-yard gain is their longest pass gain so far.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I was wrong. Against Oklahoma, he had 220 yards on the. That's pretty good.
So they won the season opener. They won the season opener against Baylor. 38 points they scored in that game. Jackson Arnold threw for 108 yards.
I know. But here's the thing: you can get away with that when it comes to Baylor, but the Georgia Bulldogs. Be able to throw. You can't be so one-dimensional. Because it's Georgia, even though it's not the Georgia teams of the past. I think that's gonna be their kryptonite, and they're gonna lose. So give me the Dogs.
Yeah, no, it honestly breaks my heart because I like Auburn. I like them pretty much every year, unless we're playing them. And Jordan Hare is a tough stadium to play in. Those fans are crazy. They're loud, and upsets happen there. They've upset LSU plenty of times there on some crazy plays, and they've upset Bama plenty of times in the Iron Bowl. So I could see them taking this game somehow, and they should have won that Oklahoma game. I will die on that hill. They should have won that game.
Yeah.
They would be ranked if they hadn't lost that game too. Like because they played the number 5 and was it 5 and 6 or 4? 5 and 6 teams. They played both of those teams on the road like dogs. Like they kept it close. And if they had an offense, at least a passing offense, they probably would have pulled those upsets. And they'd probably be the best team in the SEC if they had an offense like that. But they don't. I don't believe in Jackson Arnold. If you can't throw it down the field at least at some point, then I don't believe you can beat the top dogs of these conferences. So I'm taking Georgia, unfortunately. I love Georgia. I would love to choose Georgia when they're beating Bama, but when it's Auburn, I'd take Auburn. But sorry, I'm picking Georgia. I'm very curious to hear what Connor thinks of this one, since it involves a team he despises. So Michigan going into USC on the road, playing on the Pacific Coast, a very far travel for them. How do you see that going?
I did not write that one down. Was that one of the ones that you posted?
Connor, this guy.
Was
yes.
that in your text?
Absolutely. See, he never listens to me.
My gosh, I did not.
It wasn't even a flex.
My gosh,
game.
you sure did. You sure did send that one. How did I just skipped right over it? I went right to the next game.
Yeah, he never skips over my text.
Okay. All right. Michigan. Go blue.
That's it.
Do you have any reasoning, Connor?
Yeah, I hate USC, and I think that they're bad.
Yeah, there it is. I hate them. And I don't like them.
It is. I have cause. It is because I hate
them. Okay, Michael Scott.
No, I think Michigan.
USC is the Toby of Connor's worlds.
They are, but they also they just lost to Illinois, and I think that Michigan would beat Illinois.
They should have won that game.
Okay,
they should have,
but they didn't. And I think that Michigan is better than Illinois. You're just mad that I got that pick right. Again, you guys are so petty.
We're not saying that. We're just saying,
especially when he got it right while not watching the game whatsoever. Guys, did you see the results of this game? I watched the kick of it.
I watched the last 45 seconds.
Would have been a complete different thing if that dude shanked it. Would have been a USC win on the road and they'd be ranked. But
no, I'm not even thinking that Michigan's that good. I just You just hate. I don't believe in USC. I can't find a way.
Let's hear some logic to balance out Connor's hate.
Jaden Mayava is a really good quarterback, but that's the only thing they have. I don't think that I think that Michigan's defense is always excellent. I think that their defense is way better than Illinois, and I think that Michigan can shorten the game. I think that Michigan's running game is underrated. And I think that Bryce Underwood is improving every week. If USC wins this game, it's going to be because Jaden Mayava goes off, and I just think that that's less likely to happen against Michigan. If they couldn't do it if they couldn't close it out against Illinois, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Now, they are at home, and the Coliseum is a really hard place to play, and USC is fighting tooth and nail for respect, but I don't see it this week.
I had a really
in this one. All right, Chance, I want to hear your logic on that because we know
you're about to pick Michigan too. I can see it in your eyes.
Connor's logic.
You're about to pick Michigan too. Tell me you're not.
Connor's logic was figured out in the last 5 seconds off the cuff. So let's hear someone who actually put some thought into it.
Yeah. Tell me why you think Michigan's going to win.
You know what? You're just going to hear confusion out of me, to be honest, because I've been saying it all year that I don't trust this Michigan team, but obviously USC can't be trusted either. For the first time last week, Bryce Underwood showed that he might be able to throw a football. Very scary thought if your team's facing Michigan. They're on the road, tired legs, yada, 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 what we already talked about. It's going to be, can USC produce enough offense to offset what's going to happen defensively with Michigan? Because Michigan always has a good defense, and they're gonna slow down the game. They're gonna pound you out, and USC can't make a mistake. Jaden Mayava, though, he does look really good. And here's the thing that USC's got going for them is they can make explosive plays, and I think they can make a couple of explosive plays against Michigan to offset all the third downs that they're not going to get, the 3 and outs. I don't feel good about it, but I'm going to pick USC.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Connor said you're going to pick Michigan, and you took that personally. So
I was baiting him into it.
I didn't know he was talking about me. No, I don't trust Michigan.
Oh, he was talking to you, but
I was absolutely talking to you, Chance.
Oh,
yeah. Well, I respect it. At the beginning of the season, I had what was it? I had Michigan having 2 losses. You'd think one of them might be to Ohio State, right? No, I had them losing to Oklahoma, which they did, and USC because they're on the road. However, I've watched USC play and I've watched Michigan play. And while, Bryce is young and I wish he would have came to LSU instead of Michigan, they have a run game. They have a great run game. Probably one of the better ones in the nation. They have a great running back. And their defense is really good. In that Nebraska game, they only got overshadowed by Oklahoma's defense. They had 7 sacks in their game against Nebraska. Kept him completely just running for his life at all times. And I think that's probably going to happen to USC again because while Maiyava is great, I think their skill positions are really good too. There's a wide receiver I'm forgetting about right now that I literally named in that. Yeah, Mekhi Lemon. Fantastic. He's going to make some plays in that game. However, I don't trust USC's defense is the problem. And even though Michigan's offense isn't that great, they can run the ball, and if their defense can't stop the run, then Bryce doesn't have to do much. He might have a couple play action plays that just work for 15 yards, and that gets some scores. So I'm taking Michigan. This might be another one where I said in the preseason that I picked this team and I switched last second and I pay for it, but Michigan has the history that I believe in a lot more than USC does.
I would like to point out that you all just made the exact same arguments that I made that you said I just made off the top of my head.
I didn't say that. But wait. So how you didn't even know the pick though? Of course you made those off the top of your head.
Yeah, because I know what I'm talking about, not just because I'm just making stuff up.
But you did make it off the top of your head.
Here's the difference, Connor.
That was just because I did an analysis quickly doesn't mean it was wrong.
Here's the difference, Connor. I watched those games, and you did the bookmarks or what's it called? What's the best notes on them? You just did the bookmark stat lines. You looked at the stat lines. We're like, this is what happened in that game. They beat Illinois, or they lost to Illinois by 2 points, and that's because their defense sucks. No, it's because they had
on the next pick, and you're going to fall
ineligible receiver downfield that didn't affect the play, and they should have won that game. And that stupid call needs to be revised or removed altogether. They need to move it to 5 yards or something because it is the stupidest penalty in the sport.
We got 2 more games, Chase.
Other than how they do targeting, maybe. But all right, I'll start this one out because you know who I'm going to pick. South Carolina, LSU. They're in Baton Rouge.
I'm waiting.
They're in Baton Rouge. They are in Baton Rouge. No. Yes, it is. So I'm taking LSU. They had a bye week. According to Brian Kelly, Garrett's healthy now, but I don't trust Brian Kelly's word. I just trust that they had a bye week. They prepped for this game. I think their offense will look better than it has because I don't think South Carolina's defense is like that spectacular. I think it's an average SEC defense. It's pretty solid, but they have no run game, which means Lenore Sellers will have to make a ton of plays. And when you're trying to be a hero, you make mistakes, and you can't make mistakes against this defense. So as Florida found out very quickly, you start throwing balls over the middle, you're throwing picks. So Lenore has a bit more poise than DJ Lagway, a bit more experience. So I don't see him throwing 5 picks, but if he throws 1 or 2, game's pretty much ours. So I'm taking LSU.
Yep.
Go Tigers.
I agree with everything you just said, Chase. South Carolina has been disappointing in every single aspect except for Lenore Sellers. And when you have to do everything and you go up against this team in that stadium, you're going to make a couple of mistakes, and that's going to be the difference in the game. You're going to throw a couple picks, and LSU is going to score off of them and win the game.
God help the Gamecocks this weekend. I have not been in love with what I've seen from LSU, but I have been so disappointed in what I've seen from South Carolina. If there was a time for LSU to get a statement conference win, not saying that this is like taking down a juggernaut of the SEC this year, but if they want to go and say, and like go into a matchup and just be like, all right, we're done with messing around. We need to prove it tonight. This is the opportunity to do it. And I think that they are prepared and have what it takes to handily win this game. I totally agree, Chance. Lenore Sellers is the only decent thing, like the only really elite level thing on this team, and he cannot do everything. And I think he's going to be really overwhelmed, and especially if Garrett is finally feeling okay. Yeah, I'd LSU by a mile in this one.
Yeah, like Connor said, it wouldn't be a statement win, but this is the game to build confidence for your offense. If they don't put some points up on the South Carolina team, I don't know what to say anymore. Especially after a bye, like I'll be disappointed if they don't win by at least 21. Quite honestly, or at least the offense has to show out. At least
this is the time. This is the time for LSU's offense to show off.
Yeah. All right, and the one. The one that Connor's been waiting for. Chance has been talking to us about how we need to really look at this game, and I feel like we've been pretty fair looking at this game. But Chance thinks we're underselling this team a bit, so I'm very curious how we're going to look at this game. But ASU going into Utah, it's a big rivalry game. This is basically like a Big 12 playoff game for both these teams. If Utah loses, they basically have no shot, and if ASU loses, they might have a shot, but they'll probably need a little bit of help. So how are we looking, guys? Let's look at our resident ASU fanatic.
Oh, you want me to start? Okay, I was going to bump it over to Chance. The three of us argued well into the night about this matchup, especially after watching Texas Tech dismantle Houston. ASU obviously on a bye week. ASU's going to come into this game very healthy. It's a late night game. I mean, I think kickoff is 8:15 Mountain Time. So, I mean, it's late night. Rice-Eccles Stadium, no matter how bad Utah might be, and I'm not even saying they're bad this year, Chance, calm down. No matter how bad Utah is on any given year, this is always a difficult place to play, and it's way more difficult at night. I think Kenny Dillingham said that they're in the last 20 years or something, they've got a 92% win rate at night or something like that. Just a crazy high win rate for night games in this stadium. Utah definitely feels the make or break tension, and Utah has been a back and forth foe of ASU over the years. It is always competitive games between these two teams. It is always hard, tough, skull-cracking games that these two teams seem to get into over the years. And I mean, obviously, I'm taking ASU. I do think that ASU has. I mean, ASU appears to me right now that they are playing at the level of the second best team in the Big 12, second to Texas Tech. It is going to take everything that they have to win this game. But that being said, it has taken everything that ASU has had to win every game that they've won this year. They look so much better than against Mississippi State, and other teams that they've beaten have continued to win, albeit by varying margins of victory. This ASU also recognizes that their margin for error is very thin. Chase, you're entirely correct. This is a big time matchup that could have massive postseason implications for the entire conference. If ASU plays to their potential, yeah, they'll win. Utah, we've talked about it before, no downfield threat. Now they make up for it a little bit on offense by having Dampier, who can use his legs like crazy, but are we really going to get in a measuring contest of who's got better legs between Sam Levitt and Dampier? At best, I'd say they're equal. Sam Levitt's legs are elite, and I do feel comfortable saying that. He is an elite dual threat quarterback in this league. The biggest question mark throughout the season for him is, can his arm match his legs, given that he is a quarterback? Against Baylor, he looked a lot better. And against TCU, honestly, he looked freaking fantastic. I wouldn't say I still don't think he's living up to the Heisman talk that they had about him earlier in the year, but few are. But I think that he is vastly improved. Utah's got a tough defense. That ASU's line has to step up. But honestly, ASU's line has only seemed to struggle against pass defense, and their running attack has been just fine. They've got an excellent three-headed rushing attack. Raleek Brown seems to be separating himself more every week. That dude, he's not Scadaboo, but literally nobody is. But he's probably faster than. I think he's definitely faster than Scadaboo. He might be shiftier. The thing that Scadaboo did was he would just run straight through people. His ability to make people miss, or Raleek Brown's ability to make people miss, is way better than Cam Scadaboo's. Scadaboo is good at what he does because he leaves a trail of bodies in his wake on every run. Not because he's particularly shifty. He is shifty, but not an elite level. Raleek Brown, though, dude just gets out of stuff. He will make you miss before you've even tried. to hit him. Yeah, ASU's defense, especially the secondary, stepped way up. And the one thing that Utah does really well is their running game. And the thing that ASU does best is defending against the run. So this game's going to be won in the trenches. If they can keep Utah's passing attack completely shut down, I do think that ASU's running attack is better, and I think ASU's passing attack is better. And so I think that they can come out. But man, is it going to be an entertaining game, and it is tough.
Chance,
you waiting for me? All right.
Yeah.
Have at it.
I feel like it balances out.
That's a great analysis. I mean, this is going to be a great game. And both teams, as we said, have a lot on the line. I mean, almost to say it's the entire postseason on the line right now. I don't think either have a shot really at the playoffs, maybe an outside shot for ASU if they lose. So it's a must-win game for both of them. And they're both going to come in at their best because, yes, ASU had a bye, but so did Utah, by the way. It's a night game at Utah. It's a little bit different there. Night games are tough. You got altitude. You got a lot of different things. The way ASU started this season, I really had my doubts. And I still have some of them, but they've shown to improve so much. I mean, they were barely beating Northern Arizona, Texas State. I mean, they should be blowing out those teams, and they weren't. And they still haven't blown out a team. But the last two wins have been really impressive, albeit close. But they've been really impressive in TCU and Baylor back-to-back. So they've regained some of my trust, whereas earlier in the season, I had lost it all. I thought this is an overhyped team. The matchup is really interesting because there's a lot of things going both ways. And you're right. I think I did teach you guys, and you guys looked out for it. Utah has no deep threats, and it's their problem. In the preseason, before the fall camp, they stopped themselves, and they were so worried. They recruited 3 defensive players to play two-way, which has gone okay for them, but that's never a good sign when you don't have a good enough offense that you're desperately trying to find someone on defense to play for you. Not great. Dampier's been okay this season, but there's still a lot to prove. And ASU does have some athleticism to keep him contained. Here's some of the things to look for, though. Do you guys know the name of John Henry Daly? You know who that is?
You're not talking about John Daly, the golfer, I'm assuming.
No. I'm talking about he has the 3rd most sacks in the nation. Utah, that guy. 6.5 sacks. You know who really sucks at protecting their quarterback?
Arizona State.
Arizona State. That guy's going to have a field day. Then you've got a really, really good potentially all Big 12 linebacker in Lander Barton. He's got experience. He's going to spy, and he's going to make sure that, or attempt to make sure that Sam Levitt doesn't leave the pocket. So, and then you've got Jordan Tyson, who's a big threat. You're going to just hope and pray that Smith Snowden, a talented corner, can contain him. So I don't expect this to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be who can make the least amount of mistakes. Is it going to be Levitt? Is it going to be Dampier? I don't know. I'm already committed to Utah. I think they're at home. I think they edge this one.
You kind of have to. You have a
I have a hot take.
on them.
Yes, I already committed a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was when Arizona State wasn't looking as good as they are now.
That's the thing about the season. The season is long, and you never know if a team's going to start figuring some stuff out. That's why, I mean, we're talking a lot of shit about some teams that could turn it around.
Yeah,
you never know. You made a lot of good points about Utah, especially our offensive line and those linebackers. They very well could eat against that offensive line for sure. I do think that Sam Levitt has the legs and the awareness to get away from some of those sacks. So I don't think they're going to have a game kind of like Oklahoma had where you're having like 11 sacks or 7 sacks. Because if they did that, then I think Utah could easily win the game because Levitt would be absolutely on edge the whole time. But at the same time, on the other side of things, ASU's defense, while they might not have these top-of-the-line guys that you think are going really early in the NFL draft, they've been making plays in the clutch. Like there was in that TCU game, they had 2 sacks on the last couple drives. They had the pick in the last drive. Like they make plays in the 3rd and 4th quarter, especially. They make shit happen. They've been there before, and they want to do it again. So I believe in this ASU defense to make plays on Dampier the same way that you believe Utah's defense is going to do it on Sam Levitt. And then in the comparison of Levitt versus Dampier, if we were going off the first weeks, I would have probably given you that Dampier looks better. But in that last game against TCU and even a couple flashes in that Baylor game, Levitt looked to have some arm talent there. He looked like the guy that we wanted to see all year, but weren't. And I think he's ready. This is a test. I was never looking through this game towards Texas Tech. I just said that is the biggest threat to them. But this game, if you can't get through this game, then I won't have any hope for next week, even though it's at home. I think that ASU has the better team right now, but ASU is wishy-washy, flippy-floppy on some of these games. So they've disappointed me before, and it scares me to pick with Connor in these games because you know how he is. But another thing with that ASU defense is they have been performing really well against the run, and if that is Utah's only chance at getting down the field is their run game and maybe some scrambling, I don't believe in their offense to make plays. So they held up. While Mississippi State, I feel, leaned a little bit more towards the passing game against ASU. They had 2 rushers at about 30 yards against ASU and they got 66 yards because of they took a knee and lost a couple yards at the end of the game. So about 70 yards in that game. Then a few weeks later, Mississippi State played Tennessee in that same stadium, and we're running through them constantly. So Tennessee has a good defense, and they played really well against Georgia too. So that, I feel like that says something about ASU's defense as a whole. Their rush defense, their pass defense when they're not rushing on a stupid play, and their clutch moments in at least Big 12 play. Maybe not against SEC teams for some reason, but I believe in this ASU team for this week. Don't let me down. Don't let me down.
Fun fact about the TCU versus ASU game 2 weeks ago. TCU had only 1 more yard in the fourth quarter than turnovers. TCU in the fourth quarter had 3 offensive yards in the entire quarter, and they had 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
So ASU's defense. Now, Josh Hoover has shown himself to not have a lot of poise, but that isn't all on Josh Hoover not having poise. Yeah. So I'm very excited for it. Hopefully I will not be hospitalized after that game, and I'll actually be able to make it back to the podcast and still have all of my powers of speech after this one.
I'll take care of you, Connor.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm going to be in Phoenix this weekend, so Chase and I are going to watch this one together, and he can scoop me up off the ground as he has so many times over the years. Now, we have one more segment. We have one more segment, but we normally have 2 more segments. We're skipping our top 5 list this week because week 7 has been, or is shaping up to be, such a massive week. So many huge games that we didn't have time for it. So we're cutting that segment. It will be back next week. Chase, did you have something to add?
Yeah, we have one more game to pick.
We had one more game? Did I miss 2?
Connor.
What's this game?
Alabama at Missouri.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. What? He doesn't even. He says he's not even on his list, and now he's saying go Tigers.
No, I thought we had done that earlier. No, I did write down Mizzou over Bama.
Wow, I saved it for
I think Alabama falls asleep at the wheel on this one, and they go in and to Missouri, and I think Missouri takes advantage. I told you I'm nervous about this week.
This guy picked against nervous. 2 weeks in a row. He picks against Bama.
2 weeks in a row. I'm calling it.
Man. Chance, give me a moment. Go for it.
You guys are making me pick Utah and Alabama this week. What a terrible week for college football. I really like this Missouri team. They've shown a lot of grit. They've shown that they can do quite a bit. But, when watching them is one thing, but then I'm reminded of who they're doing it against. And it's fair competition, but it isn't the big boys yet. And there's something about Alabama that we all hate. They win games, and they don't lose normally unless you're Vanderbilt. They don't lose games like this. They've looked really, really good the last couple of weeks, and I don't expect them to drop another one. And they're going to continue that top 10 defense, itching towards that.
I hate those guys.
I know.
Missouri looks really good.
Yeah.
I've watched I've watched a couple of their games now, and while that beginning of that Kansas game was really sketchy, they came back and won that game, and they controlled that game from the second quarter on. And then in that South Carolina game, while it was a bit closer on the scoreboard, they controlled that game. And the way they control that game is they have a pretty solid defense, but they also have probably the best rushing attack in the SEC right now. Like their running attack looks fantastic. Like the guy was running through for first downs like every play. It was crazy. It's like, you guys don't even have to throw the ball. But then the guy would throw the ball and he would do just as great. So the problem is mistakes, and you can't, like I said with Vandy, you can't make mistakes against this Alabama team. Mizzou is at home. They are only 2.5 point underdogs against Alabama this week. That is the spread, 2.5 points. And they had a bye going into this game. Alabama did not. They prepped for Vandy like their life depended on it, because it did. If they lost to Vandy 2 years in a row, some fire DeBoer signs would have been right outside his office. But did they prepare for Mizzou? Will they be prepared for this? Will Ty Simpson make another mistake? I want to say yes.
Then do it.
But Connor already did. And he stole my thunder just like he did with Florida. I was saving this for last for a reason, Connor. And now I got to flip again. I'm picking Bama.
Oh,
Give me Alabama.
You coward.
Yeah, dude.
Another
thing I will say is Missouri is 5-4 against Alabama at home. However, the last 3 games at home were losses to them. Their history is way back when they were beating them. So that's historically why I can't pick Missouri yet. I really hope so. I hope I see that roll call video with Darth Missouri choking out Alabama. I hope I see that next week, but I have to see it first. So I'm picking Alabama.
Chase, you were so close.
You know, Connor, if you didn't shout it out all impulsively, I would have, but you did. So
you have to reach in like the end of Interstellar and be able to see the fabric of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to touch and taste what could and what will be.
I can hear colors and smell flavors. No, Connor, I did that. I took some real shots 2 weeks ago, and I got burned for it. I was 1 game behind you and got absolutely annihilated for picking against Bama, for Penn State, for picking Auburn on the road because they performed so well against Oklahoma. I got absolutely bombed that week. And if that week hadn't happened, this last week I would have been perfect, because I would have had the stones to pick Cincy, and I would have had stones to pick Florida. But because that week I went 2-6, I've been out of the race so far. So I got to play a little bit safe here, especially when you're swinging against Alabama. I got to swing.
And against Oregon this week.
So I got to take those chances, Maybe you hit one. I'd love to see Bama lose to this Missouri team. I would much rather see that than get that record over for Connor, even though Connor annoys me with his last-second impulsive, I hate him takes. But I will still...
I did make a pick. I did my homework on that one. I just forgot about it when I read it.
I hope I'm wrong, but give me Alabama.
All right. Well, now that was that is our Week 7 hot picks. It's getting spicier and spicier every week, everybody. Let's close it out with the Vegas picks, which for some reason I can't win on these. I'm calling the upsets in the pick'ems, but when I put the money on the line, then it's like then now the stars are aligned against me specifically. I couldn't even pick the alternate spreads. I couldn't even pick the alternate over against Delaware, because Delaware had to go and miss a 30-yard field goal as time expired to send it into overtime. I can't.
Connor,
Delaware.
you're really convincing people to listen to you right now.
I know.
Iowa State, money line.
Yeah. You guys are gonna be real mad about this one then. South Florida. This is 2 money lines and a spread. South Florida is just a narrow favorite over North Texas. It's -115, which is practically an even spread. I think they're absolutely going to take that game. Vegas is seeing something different. I'm taking the Bulls all day. I think Cincinnati is going to beat the spread minus 11.5 against UCF. UCF is unpredictable, but I think that Cincinnati is going to gain a lot of momentum from that win last week. I think they built a lot of confidence, and they're playing at home again. It's at Cincinnati again. If they play up to their potential, I think that this could be another blowout. UCF's always talented, but this year they're just not putting it together, very similar as they did last year. And then the money where my mouth is pick of the week. Missouri money line.
God.
This game is only plus 130. This game is almost even on the betting line between Alabama and Missouri. Missouri is absolutely still an underdog. But this is a plus 739 parlay. $20 pays out $167. You're 8.5 times in your money if the Tigers and the Bearcats and the Bulls all pull it off.
Maybe do round robin.
Oh yeah, do round robin, please do round robin.
Connor,
I am kind of curious. How do you feel about? I was talking with Chance about this earlier.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the spread of the BYU Arizona game?
BYU is
favored. BYU is favored by 1.5.
What?
Yeah. Look at it.
Well, if it's anything less than 5, I typically just go money line anyway. Why is that so even though?
I don't know.
I would take your kids 5 and put it all on BYU in that game. So yeah, that's insane to me. I didn't even notice that one. Arizona just blew out Oklahoma State at home. Cool. So did everybody else.
After they got blown out by Iowa State.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I don't think Arizona's as bad as they were last year, but that's a pretty low bar. So no, I think BYU handles business against Arizona, even if they are on the road. That's weird. Anyways, though, this has been the Concussion Protocol Podcast. Last week was supposed to be a quiet week, but it's college football, and so there's no such thing. There were upsets all over the place, and this week I am seriously already sweating. This next week. This is a huge week of games. Last week was supposed to be quiet and it was that exciting. This week is not supposed to be quiet. There's supposed to be fireworks from dawn till dusk for about 2 straight days. It's going to be a good one. We're going to be keeping you updated on every step of the way. We'll be with you next week. We love college football. We love hearing from you guys. Please keep liking and subscribing. YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok. We're getting a lot of you guys on TikTok telling us how it is. We are loving hearing from you guys. Please keep it up. Until next time, I'm Connor with Chance and Chase. We will see you around.